and you can't talk about it? Come on, man. You would think you'd be super.
Remember.
Well, but that just but the thing is, we did the same test with Miz. Okay,
Yeah, show the proof, please.
and it's not even about show the proof. It's just like, okay, well, if what you're saying is true, then all you would need to do is answer a few basketball questions, and you can show us why you was wrong. So now this is how the conversation started out, because the conversation started out, we was talking about Kevin Johnson, right? Mez was coming up there saying, I guess obviously Mez is the savior. He's the savior of the 90s. He has to try to make everything in the 90s seem better than what it actually was. And he was having a conversation with Score Society. Score Society was basically saying that that 05, the 04, 05 Detroit Pistons team would have beat the brakes off the Suns. That defense would have been too much. And I came in to give my 2 cents on the conversation, man. So I'm gonna play it. If y'all on the panel hear anything, you want me to stop it, just let me know. But I'm gonna try to play it as much as I can so we can get through this conversation, because it is in total an hour and 19 minutes. Salute to Shine 100%. Because remember, as I said in this video, we play everything. We play the film. We don't shy away from this, right? We play everything. But again, this is a perfect example of how you absolutely cook your damn self because you talk too much. 1 seed, 7 games doesn't mean the 1 seed isn't that good. It just means there's some matchups. Like when we saw Houston take Golden State 7 games, didn't mean Houston was that good. It just means styles make fights. They were just used to playing them. Yeah, that's not a marker for me.
Or Golden State beating the Mavericks, same situation.
But what is the style difference though?
I think styles make fights, because Jason Kidd is the biggest style breaker. I think Jason Kidd, like I said before, I think him and Kevin Johnson are light years apart. Their skill sets are light years apart. And like I say, Kevin Johnson wasn't able to play make because of a very simple defensive strategy deployed by the Bulls. B.J. Armstrong picking him up full court. Really not much other than that.
What?
Yes.
Kevin Johnson averaged 10 assists against the Bulls that year. What are you talking about?
No, I'm saying in that series, yeah, you go look at the series. Go watch Kevin Johnson games 1 and 2.
Stop right there.
His playmaking, yeah.
Now you see, this is the reason why I be telling the Miz and Vision and all of them. He ran right to the damn stats to talk about his playmaking, and it completely ignored that if you're being guarded 94 feet, it makes it harder for you to get into your offensive set, because you the party. Back then, it was 10 seconds. Remember, it was 10 seconds on the shot clock back then.
But Juan Boy, but hold on. Now, remember, later in this stream, Mez says that we lie on him. Okay. Now, I'll run it back so we can hear it. But did Mez say that KJ averaged 10 assists per game in that series? In the series that we're referring to is the 93 finals versus the Bulls. Did he or did he not just say that? I want y'all to, before I run it back, did you guys hear that?
One more time.
Let's run it back. Hold on, let me run it back. Okay. In that series, yeah, you go look at the series. Go watch Kevin Johnson games 1 and 2. He was
Kevin Johnson.
His playmaking, yeah, but by default, like Score said, yeah, he's going to get to certain numbers because they are high-paced offense. But how effective were those 10 assists? Did it lead to anything? Hold on, let me go back. Kevin Johnson wasn't able to play make because of a very simple defensive strategy deployed by the Bulls. B.J. Armstrong picking him up full court. Really not much other than that.
What?
Yes.
Kevin Johnson averaged 10 assists against the Bulls that year. What are you talking about?
No. How many assists did he say he averaged?
Yo, he never had 10 assists in that series.
10 assists?
The most.
So is he just making it up, or?
Kevin Johnson in the NBA Finals averaged 6 assists per game. He did not average 10.
The most he had in game, when it was in game 4, was 9.
Remember,
hold on, man.
But y'all remember, they will say that I'm lying on them. I didn't say these things. Hold on. So for clarity, y'all, he did say that season, right? So I'm going to go look up the regular season numbers because we know that these guys love to play semantics and play with the words, even though in this conversation we are talking about the NBA Finals. I want to see what KJ did in the regular season versus the Bulls.
Don't do it. Don't do it. He ain't even played 50 games, man. He didn't. Man. See, man's we coming, yo, Ochi. We going right to the lab after this joint over. He said he got some hours, some change. You know I get off at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, Lamar, you might need to send this to me.
I'll send it to you.
Hey, Lamar, Kevin Johnson did it. It just wasn't in the years that they said. Though.
No, hold on, Herm. We're talking about 1993. We're talking about that. We're talking about the We're talking about the 1993 version. First of all, KJ missed a ton of games in the regular season, so I probably don't even need to play
30-some games that season.
Yeah,
I think he played like 41 games that year.
So we can X that out. Hold on, so we can X that out. He didn't average 10 assists in the regular season. That's a fact. And in the playoffs, he didn't even have a game where he got to 10 assists against the Bulls, right? So we can negate that. Now, again, y'all, these are the guys that say when we called him out, they always trying to say that we're lying on him. You guys heard exactly what he said. Remember what I said? They'll say stuff, they'll try to shoot it by you, they'll try to talk from a voice of authority, and they're just lying. Once again, and we'll go back to what I said before. Once again, these guys don't know what they're talking about, so they'll pretend that they know information. They'll say it, right? And look, I'm on the phone. I wasn't on my desktop. I wasn't about to fact check him right then and there, but he did not average 10 assists. He did not have in the 1993 NBA Finals a 10 assist game versus the Bulls. But this is just a big snowball of how the conversation is going to go, y'all, because he's just getting very lightly cooked in this conversation. But because his ego is involved, I want you guys to watch how he tries to take the conversation to a completely different topic because he looked dumb in this conversation.
Did you do the one boy tactic and keep him on the same spot?
Oh, no. This conversation finished cleanly. It got to a point where he kind of just got silent and he just kind of had to gracefully bow out of this one because I don't think he realized that Kevin Johnson struggled against the 93 Bulls with B.J. Armstrong picking him up. He didn't know that Kevin Johnson had 4 points in game 2 and 11 points in game 1 because B.J. Armstrong's just picking him up full court. And they're just blitzing screens. I mean, he don't know nothing about Kevin Johnson. They know his numbers, but they didn't know Kevin Johnson couldn't shoot a lick. Kevin Johnson's biggest weakness in his game was the man couldn't shoot a jump shot. You talk about not making a jump shot. That was Kevin Johnson's entire identity. The man couldn't shoot. He couldn't shoot a three. He couldn't shoot a mid-range. He was all about getting to the rim. And when you stopped him from getting to the rim.
He was a streaky guy.
Yes.
Always been streaky.
And so, hold on, I'll keep playing it. But again, because these guys don't watch and they don't know nothing about these players, Kevin Johnson's a great player. But so as I explained to Mez, I said Kevin Johnson's playmaking was directly tied to his ability to get to the rim. I said Jason Kidd, as a playmaker, don't need to get to the rim or have a jump shot to play make. He just that nice. His brain works differently. He sees stuff that no one else can see. And this is why This is why he could go so long without an elite jumper, but he was still one of the best players makers we've seen in NBA history. Far different from a Jason Kidd, even though we weren't really talking about Jason.
I think Jason Kidd was bigger, stronger, and faster than Kevin Johnson. Though.
No, he was, but as playmakers, because I don't even know why he kept bringing up Jason Kidd.
I don't know.
Hold on, let me.
KJ was very athletic though for his size though.
No, but I'm saying, but KJ's game was predicated. His ability to score was predicated on him getting to the paint.
Off of penetration.
Fact. That's just his game. And again, I'm not taking that away from KJ. But when we're talking about the 04-05 Pistons, do they have perimeter defenders that can give him the same problems that B.J. Armstrong gave him in '93? Hell yeah. They have better defenders than DJ Armstrong to slow up a Kevin Johnson. Because remember, it was Mez's argument that this 93 Suns team would be able to overcome the defense of a 04-05 Detroit Pistons defense. And Score Society was saying, I watched this defense give Kobe problems. I watched this defense give some of the best players in NBA history problems. I don't think they'll have any issues with a Barkley and a Kevin Johnson. The Bulls All they did was just make Barkley inefficient, shooting 30 and 40% in a lot of those games, and they just held KJ in check and just kept him out the paint. Simple. And they didn't even have a lot of the weapons that Pistons team had. I'll keep playing this show because, like I say, I want to try to get through as much of it. Plus, I want to get to the entertaining parts, obviously, when obviously Mez has to try to save himself with, I don't know. He tries to make this not about basketball. It's very, very silly.
Yeah,
I'm saying in that series, yeah, you go look at the series. Go watch Kevin Johnson games 1 and 2. He was ineffective.
Kevin Johnson.
His playmaking, by default, like Score said, he's going to get to certain numbers because they are high-paced offense. But how effective were those 10 assists? Did it lead to anything that came close to them putting them in the series to win? It didn't. It was very ineffective. So yes, did he get some assists? Yes. But doesn't mean he was an effective playmaker. He was not, if you watch that series.
All right, man. All right,
Go watch games 1 and 2. There's a reason why he only scored 4 points in game 2.
But I watch these games. I think Jason Kidd is a better point guard than Kevin Johnson. But what we're not going to do is we're not going to ignore the fact that Kevin Johnson as a scorer is far better of a scorer than Jason Kidd. Also, when you look,
why is he bringing up Kevin Johnson's scoring? Kevin Johnson couldn't score against the Bulls in '93. He wasn't scoring. The Bulls stopped that.
So we say he's a better
You
scorer
must be
than
talking
Jason
about the
Kidd.
regular season.
No, but it doesn't matter that KJ can score because KJ scoring wasn't good enough to score against BJ Armstrong in the '93 finals. What makes you think that Chauncey Billups or Rip Hamilton or Tayshaun Prince and these guys can't stop him if he's going up against the 04 or 05 Pistons? These guys, if you thought BJ Armstrong gave exactly,
Chauncey's a way better defender.
So I'm saying if BJ Armstrong single-handedly, they weren't doing anything special to Kevin Johnson and Adrian Knight. We're not saying that KJ was not good. We're talking about when elite defensive teams were able to apply defensive strategies against them, like the Bulls did in the '93 finals. He looks like a shell of himself. Kevin Johnson scoring 4 points in the NBA Finals game. I thought Zesty Jeffrey said that's choking. 11 points in game 1. Remember, they had home court advantage in Phoenix. You give up games 1 and 2. A game in Phoenix, game 2 in Phoenix. You shoot 2 of 8 from the field, 4 points. Isn't that choking?
Damn.
So don't come to me with the nonsense about, we're not saying KJ's not a good player. But when we're talking about elite defensive teams putting a strategy against you, slowing you down, I know for a fact that the 04 or 05 Pistons could have done the same thing to even probably a more significant degree because now there's no illegal defense around to handcuff the defense.
And also, you got Lindsey Hunter coming off the bench on that 04 team. He's going to pick up 94 feet too.
Weapon after weapon after weapon. And thank you, Glor. And Phoenix couldn't guard. Right? And that's what Score Society's whole point was. The Pistons were the first team I saw win a championship with almost 100% sheer defense. We've never seen a team win a championship on almost 100% sheer offense. The Suns might have been the closest team to come in to do that, but when they ran into an elite defense, that shit got stopped. And this is a Suns team that went into the finals with home court advantage. They dropped games 1 and 2 at home because KJ, how about this, Zesty Jeffries? Just stick to what y'all typically say. Don't run around saying that he got clamped up. Just say KJ choked, right? You'd be better off just sticking to your own talking points. Because if you say that he got clamped up, that just makes Score Society right. Meaning that a very simple defensive scheme can turn KJ into a mediocre player, which is what happened in '93. That's all we're saying. So I don't know why you fight this. I don't know why you fight these losing battles. These losing battles. This is just a losing battle, and especially when you didn't watch. We watched BJ Armstrong shut Kevin Johnson down. That wasn't Pippen. That was BJ Armstrong.
Looking at the team that year in the Phoenix Suns, one of the reasons that Charles Barkley won the MVP that year was because he was able to maintain the level of offensive production and keep the team afloat at the top of the NBA, despite the fact that Kevin Johnson missed a ton of games. What we're doing is we're looking at different styles of fights and different teams facing this Pistons team. And what we're saying is, if a guy in Jason Kidd who can shoot 28% from the field and 14% from three as a playmaker, averaging less assists and more turnovers. Once again, I do think he's a different player, but that is going to be offset by the fact that the Phoenix Suns have a much deeper offensive roster than the New Jersey Nets at this point in time. If we go player for player, offensive player for offensive player, this Phoenix Suns team is a better offensive team with better offensive players in totality.
It works on NBA 2K. It don't work in real life.
What?
Yeah, and you could also.
Facts. You only look at player for player. Remember, listen to how he's evaluating the team. They have more better offensive players. Bro, that only works in video games.
Defense? What about defense?
That only works when you're stacking player ratings.
But they don't
you're trying to get the teams.
Have the offensive players, though.
No, but what I'm saying is, we all know in the playoffs, it's about your top guys, right? And for that Suns team, they rely heavily on Kevin Johnson and Charles Barkley. Those were the two guys that made that team go, and even Dan Marley to a certain degree, right? Again, there were other guys that averaged double figures, right? But nothing. But if you cut the head of the snake off Kevin Johnson and he can't get to the rim and he can't play make the way we saw him play make, right? They're not the same team. The Bulls cut all that water off. If you actually watch that series, you would know the Bulls cut that water off. The Suns had home court advantage and lost games 1 and 2 because Kevin Johnson and Charles Barkley could not be effective. Barkley, I don't think any game in that series, Barkley did not shoot over, did have a game where he shot 50%. Barkley had games where he shot 30% and 40% in that series. He was supremely inefficient. So Barkley had to work overtime just to get to his numbers, and Kevin Johnson supremely underperformed and couldn't get to his numbers at all because he was getting clamped up, and they kept blitzing every pick and roll, making him give up the ball.
Mez, you could also make the argument that big assist game was an anomaly. Like, I mean, I think if you look at the whole series and how he moved the ball and passed the ball, I don't even think he averaged four or five assists a game for the whole series. So I think you also have to be able to look at when you.
And he averaged 6. He did average 6, but it definitely wasn't the 10 that Mez claimed.
Look at these series, especially those older ones, right? To Lamont's point, player contributed to winning or not contributed to winning from start to finish.
Usually around this time, the baby sleep.
I always ask, if Kevin Johnson's a scorer, he couldn't score versus the Bulls. And he was getting guarded by B.J. Armstrong. Anybody on that Pistons team can duplicate what B.J. Armstrong did. It doesn't take a special defender. They didn't have to put Pippen on Kevin Johnson, right? Like Pippen had to guard Mark Jackson in '98. They didn't do anything special. If you're telling me that, any of those Pistons guards can't duplicate what B.J. did, yeah, I mean, and you're also taking the Suns out of their element. You're taking them in an illegal defense era, putting them against a team with far more defensive weapons, with better defenders, right? It's tough. I mean, like, Barkley's now going to see zone reads. He's going to see bodies. He's going to see shaded help. It's not going to look the same. And if the Bulls were able to make him a 30% scorer at times, I can't imagine what that level of Pistons could do, especially if they could do it to Kobe. Like Jake said, if you can do it to Kobe, you can do it to anybody. Like, you can't.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, as far as when it comes to the Pistons, man, is probably in my time, I haven't seen a team that actually came and won off of straight defense. No star power just came out of nowhere, straight defense, and that's why when I compare it to the Suns, I'm thinking to myself, who on that team they couldn't have stopped? Like, what person they couldn't have stopped if I watched them shut down Kobe? Because Kobe wasn't like it wasn't like Kobe didn't shoot the ball. Kobe was just getting shut down. Kobe just couldn't score. He couldn't score efficiently. What he was doing was working the entire time up until the Pistons. Well, it look like we good here, man. Hey, yo, look, bro.
Let me. I'm gonna ask this one question. I'm gonna get up out of here, brother. I appreciate the talk, Score Society, for sure.
Well,
It was a good chat with you.
So you get barbecued on the Kevin Johnson conversation. Now watch this, y'all. Watch this.
Hey, I just got one question for you, FYF, if you don't mind.
Yo.
Yeah.
I got one question for you. And I ain't even trying to be on no shit, nothing like that, but I feel like you keep lying on my name. I'm just trying to figure out why do you continuously tell stories about my name, bro?
What story did I tell?
Somebody clipped something of you talking about I agree with a tape that you said where you made up something, and clearly if you had the recording, you could clearly see that I told you I didn't really know what you were talking about, and you said I agree with you.
I gotta see the clip. I don't remember.
Okay, I got you. Give me a second, brother. I'm gonna let you hear it real quick because you talking about I'm the dumbest person in the world, all this other stuff. I'm just confused. I don't know whether you realize I didn't agree with.
And I still stand on that. I still stand on it. And again, remember, in these basketball conversations, just like on the basketball court, I'm only talking in the realm of basketball talk. Mez might be a he might build he might build homes or something. You might be smart in that area. But when it comes to talking basketball, my guy, you again, I can tell when you're pump faking.
But
all
why
this
did he
bullshit.
did he think he was going to expose you by stepping to you? This probably had months later. Like, what was
No, hold on.
Like,
Hold on. He's
holding grudges?
Here's the beauty of it, y'all. He had the clips of what was said. Hold on, let me get inside the argument here. The beauty of it is he had the clips. And the problem is his own clips cooked him. Well, we're going to listen to it, y'all, because we're going to listen to it closely. Because remember, I stand on everything that I say. And if I'm wrong, I'll tell you I'm wrong.
You know what? I'm just so confused by this. I mean, I don't really find it that funny because this is like the third or fourth time you've fibbed on my name, and I'm just trying to figure out why I keep doing it.
Wow. Where'd you read this at? Where'd you read basketball discourse? I read it online.
Why do you got to make up stuff on the fly to try to say? This is what man. Yeah, hey, look, hey y'all. You want me to tell y'all how I know Maz knows absolutely nothing, right? I'm going to tell y'all. I wish Ochi might have recorded it, right? Please. I ended up going on I went on Superstars Live, and some of y'all were there, right? Y'all remember when I went on Superstars Live, and Mez came up talking to me about Tim Duncan's defense, right? Oh, you did clip this, Ochi, right?
Now, as we play this, y'all, I want us to listen, right? We're gonna use our ears, but I want to show y'all how he's trying to be slick when he starts to play these clips. All right.
This is how we know they're stupid, right? This is how we know Peter Backjuice and Mez are absolutely dumb. Ochi, do you remember when I was talking to Mez about Tim Duncan's defense, and I said, Tim Duncan as the anchor would call out, plays like fire. And I remember that. Yeah, I was. Think about this, right? Think about this. This is how I know they're dumb. I completely made that up. But Mez was willing to agree to it. He was like, yeah, I remember that too. I can't remember the colors. But he's sitting there saying, yeah, I remember that too. And I'm saying to myself.
Now, remember y'all. He doesn't want y'all.
I remember that shit.
Hold on. But remember, now, this is where we got to use our brains because this is where Mez will just try to blab his way into thinking he's right. Listen to what I said. I said he tried to pretend that he knew what I was talking about, but he said he doesn't remember the colors, but he tried to pretend that he knew. That's the key element in this whole conversation right here, because I vividly remembered him agreeing, but pretending that he didn't remember the colors. So he tried to pretend that it was true. He just didn't remember the colors like fire and the names that I was reeling out. That's very key in this conversation. Hold on, we're gonna keep playing it. We're gonna watch this.
Myself. Yeah. Man, you got to be the dumbest person in the world. I just made this shit up. I didn't hear no hot mics of Tim Duncan saying nothing. I just know what their defense is, right? And I know who the anchor is. but I'm just making it up.
That
But
is
because they so thirsty to pretend like they know this information, he just agreed to it. He was like, yeah, I agree. He's like, yeah, I heard it too. It's like, bro, you didn't hear none of this shit. I just made this shit up on the fly. Last game you watched the Spurs, Tim Duncan and Spurs.
I watched the, I think it's with the 1999 series versus the Los Angeles
Okay,
Lakers.
so good, great that you said that year. There were a lot of hot mics that picked up Tim Duncan. What would Tim Duncan be yelling out almost every time? It was a color he would yell out almost every time. Why would he be yelling out those colors?
I think both of them actually yelled out quite a bit of things. I'm not gonna act like I know exactly what color they're yelling out.
He said, I know that they were yelling out quite a few things. I'm not going to act like I remember the colors that they were yelling out. That's exactly what I said. Because, and remember, all of this is made up. This is all made up. So for you to even pretend that any of it is true is you agreeing into any of it. And I called him out on it. I said, remember, this is all of it's false from its entirety. I'm just throwing stuff out there because I know you're goofy. But he tries to co-sign and agree to it like he knows, just so we can progress into the conversation. We're going to keep playing it, y'all.
So, yet again, for like the third, fourth, or fifth time, you've accused me of admitting something or agreeing on something.
That's a fact.
And I don't agree with you, brother. Brother, listen to me real quick, brother. I'm not trying to get on no shit because I respect Sports Society's platform. This is just one of the only times that me and you
Play the whole clip. Play the whole clip.
This is just one of the only times that we're going to be on the platform. I'd appreciate it that if you're going to speak on my name, it's cool. I don't really care about the insults, but if you're going to speak on me, brother, it's fine. If you're going to speak on me, that's fine, brother. But if you're going to speak on my name, just actually say what I said, because this is like the fourth or fifth time I've had to pull up the film of you lying on me when I tell you something. Play the whole clip. Don't worry about it.
Okay, but okay, as the anchor on defense, why do you think he's yelling out those colors? Blue.
He's calling up. Obviously, he's calling up.
When he's yelling out,
obviously, he's calling up different sets. Obviously, he's calling up different sets.
So he even further doubles down on it. When I asked, why do you think he's yelling out these colors? He's now trying to explain it. He's calling out different sets. Bro, this is all made up.
Can't just say I don't know.
But instead of just saying I don't know, or I'd never heard this stuff, he's calling out different sets. Bro, you don't know.
Actively lying.
You don't know none of this stuff. This is all made up. So remember, he's trying to use this clip to say that I was lying on him. Well, watch this. We're going to keep playing it, y'all.
So not only did I tell you I didn't really know the colors like that,
That's
I'm
not
not going
what
to
you
act like I
said.
know. I told you, brother, it's very clear on there. I said I'm not going to act like I know what colors they're calling
It
out.
wasn't about
That's
the
what I said, brother.
colors. You're
And you
making it
said,
about the colors.
no, brother, listen. And you said, well, as a defensive anchor, then why is he calling out those colors? Well,
Did you ask to answer yourself, or did you ask
brother,
me?
No, I didn't ask you for nothing. I just asked you, why do you keep lying on my name when I clearly told you?
You're going to let me respond, or you just going to try to explain away so you can sound right?
Go ahead, brother.
Okay. So the whole point of this has nothing to do with any specific color. The whole point of this is, and especially if you take my clips and you don't snip it out of context, the whole point of it is you were willing to agree to things that you never knew happened, which is why you said, yeah, I know, let me finish. Which is why you said, yeah, I know they were yelling out stuff. You don't know
I never said I agree with anything you said. I never yelled out stuff, but don't lie on my name. You're lying again.
Can I finish, man?
Yeah.
I get why you want to cut me off. But I mean, I listened to your whole clip.
It's not that serious, bro. Go ahead.
I mean, you brought it up, so it must be serious. If it wasn't serious,
it is serious because you.
So let me finish if it's that serious. So again, the point of the conversation was you were willing to, and this is what happened in the conversation, and this is live. We put this on our own platform in full, so there's nothing to hide. So when you are willing to agree to things that you know, and you've done this multiple times, that you have no knowledge of, you don't know happened, right? You're just willing to concede to things just to try to sound knowledgeable about a topic, like you were doing also with Anthony when we were talking about the triangle offense. When Anthony was saying that Jordan was running Iverson cuts in the triangle offense.
I never said anything.
Let me finish.
Stop lying on me again.
Can I finish?
I have the footage of that too.
Stop lying on my name. I didn't say you said it.
You just said I agree with him, but I didn't even say anything.
Let me finish what I'm saying. It don't need to get messy.
We're not getting messy, but I'm talking.
There are a multitude of times where, again, as a basketball player, as somebody who's played, as somebody who's been through a lot of things, as I said on that same stream, I can ask very simple questions, and I can tell if you really know the game or if you're just pump faking it. And to me, when I talk about the game in certain aspects, when we talk about certain things, even in this conversation right here, when we were talking about Kevin Johnson, the whole point of that conversation I was trying to talk about is when you speak about the game in vague generalities and you avoid talking about the ins and out of the game, like you avoided talking about what Kevin Johnson did against elite defenses, right? Like the Chicago Bulls. You avoid talking about how he couldn't score against the Chicago Bulls.
Brother, can you actually get to the point?
I'm getting to, but again, don't ask if you don't want the answer. If you don't like it, it's fine. You can kick rocks.
Brother, everybody
on this live just
literally heard me sit here and say,
okay, so this is my answer. But the whole point, I'll sum it up right here. I'll sum it up right here. I'll sum it up right here. Because again, what I say, I stand on it. I don't backtrack from it. What I do is I double down. Let me finish. I don't. Everything I do is record it and put on multiple platforms forever. I don't hide from it.
That's why it's so crazy.
The things that I say, once again, you're talking while I'm talking. We can't have a conversation like that. So once again, you were willing, no matter how you try to splice it up to try to make yourself sound right, you were willing to agree to things that you didn't understand just to try to sound knowledgeable about defense. I stand on that.
What did I agree to that I did not understand?
You agreed to the fact that, first of all, the Spurs don't even use terms like fire. So you agreed to that.
I never agreed to that.
You said, yeah, I know they're yelling out stuff.
Brother, I literally played the clip.
How do you know they're yelling out anything if you don't even understand defense to that level?
Do I need to play it again, brother? I did not say that.
Please play it again.
He will. But
stop lying.
What you want is you want all these conversations to be black and white. I know exactly what you were doing.
It's not black and white, brother. You said something I clearly didn't say. You sit here and said, I said I agree with it, etc. That's not true.
So, Maz, would you be willing to have, we can clear it up like this. Would you be willing to have a defensive debate with me about
no, brother,
defense?
I don't really care to have no
Would you be willing to have a real defensive debate with me about real defense?
I don't really care to have many conversations with you because
would you be willing to talk basketball with me and have a real one-on-one debate about defense?
You're the only one that don't talk basketball, brother.
Would you be willing to have a head-to-head debate about defense in the 90s versus defense today?
FYF, quote exactly what I said.
Would you be willing to talk real basketball?
Quote exactly what I said, brother. Just quote exactly what I said.
The challenge is there. If you know basketball,
this ain't really about basketball, brother. I want you to quote exactly what I said.
With FYF Sports.
Why is it so hard for you to quote exactly what I said?
Because what you're doing is because, like I say, you talk in so many vague generalities. You try to weasel your way out.
What does that have to do with? What is that? You asked me a question. I told you no.
Because you told a line. You told this.
Brother, you asked me a question. I told you no.
You told a line where you say so many things in vague generalities that you pretend that you know, but you don't really get into it.
Brother, me and you were on Vision Live 1v1, and they
that wasn't Vision Live.
And they pulled exactly what Vision.
So
Vision Live, brother.
If you really know defense,
you and I were on Vision's Live 1v1, only us two on the panel.
Let's have a head-to-head debate about 90s defense,
brother. Stop
if you really know defense, if you can really talk the game,
it ain't really about that, brother. And this is how the conversation
you can't weasel out of this with Jordan and LeBron.
You can't weasel your way out of the fact that you just got caught lying again.
I didn't get caught lying.
You just got caught lying on my name after you sat here and said, "Do we need to play the clip again?"
You always gonna say I'm lying.
Do I need to play the clip again?
Yeah, Maz, it doesn't matter how many times you play it. I was there. I stand on what I said.
FYF
talking vague generalities, and you don't know the game.
Watch how he cooks himself.
Basketball discourse.
I read it online.
Why do you got to make up stuff on the fly to try to sound?
Yeah, let Ochi up here. He was there. Let's hear it.
This is what man. Yeah, hey, look, hey y'all. You want me to tell y'all how I know Mez knows absolutely nothing, right? I'm going to tell y'all. I wish Ochi might have recorded it, right?
Please.
I ended up going on I went on Superstars Live, and some of y'all were there, right? Y'all remember when I went on Superstars Live? And Mez came up talking to me about Tim Duncan's defense, right? Oh, you did clip this, Ochi, right? Y'all this is how we know they're stupid, right? This is how we know Peter Bagshoes and Mez are absolutely dumb. Ochi, you remember when I was talking to Mez about Tim Duncan's defense, and I said, Tim Duncan as the anchor would call out, plays like fire. And
I remember that. Yeah, I was.
Hold on. Think about this, right? Think about this. This is how I know they're dumb. I completely made that up, but Mez was willing to agree to it. He was like, "Yeah, I remember that too. I can't remember the colors."
So not only do you make up points, you try to catch me in the gotcha.
Remember what I said? You hear that? Did you hear that? You tried to talk about you couldn't remember the colors.
Hold on. And what did I say about the colors?
Play the whole clip.
I'm saying to myself, man, you got to be the dumbest person in the world. I just made this shit up.
Making up shit in the basketball
I
debate.
didn't hear no hot mics. Tim Duncan saying
lying in a hoop
know
debate.
what their defense is, right? And I know who the anchor is, but I'm just making it up. But because they so thirsty to pretend like they know this information, he just agreed to it. He was like, "Yeah, I agree." He was like, "Yeah, I heard it too." It's like, bro, you didn't hear me?
Yeah, I agree to it.
You cut it off because I specifically said.
Up on the fly. Last game you watched the Spurs. Tim Duncan Spurs.
You pretended with
I
the
watched
color.
I think it's what the 1999 series versus the Los Angeles
Okay,
Lakers.
so great that you said that year. There were a lot of hot mics that picked up Tim Duncan. What would Tim Duncan be yelling out almost every time? It was a color he would yell out almost every time. Why would he be yelling out those colors?
I think both of them actually yelled out quite a bit of things. I'm not going to act like I know exactly what color they're yelling out.
I think both of them were yelling out a few things.
I'm not going to act like I know exactly what colors they're yelling out. I'm not going to act like I do.
That's exactly what I said.
No, brother. Me saying I'm not going to act like I know exactly what colors they're yelling out. That's me saying they yell color out. That's not what you said, brother.
Yourself with your
that's not what you said, brother. And it's funny that you gonna sit here and deny like that. And this is why I really don't talk to you when you produce like that. You're right. We did just hear it. We just heard me simply say I'm not gonna act like I know what colors they're calling out, because I'm not. I'm not. And yet again, you're lying on my name. Do I need to play the last couple of times you lied on my name? All of it's here on recording, brother. I don't understand why you got to keep lying on my name.
We might as well hear it. Shit.
Hold on. I'm not, what do you think about that?
Score Society. You want to hear it? You want to hear it?
Scores.
No, I want to hear it. This is all.
So look, y'all. It got so bad. It got so bad for Mez. He now trying to find a whole new clip. This clip didn't work out for him, y'all. This did not work out the way he thought it was gonna work out. This went wrong. Now he's saying Score Society. I got another clip. Well, I think I got him.
This one? You want to hear this one?
Yeah, your Score Society. You want to hear this other clip? This one didn't go. And remind you guys, if y'all would have seen the chat, his own people in there was cooking him, man. And now from here on, it only gets worse. Because and the beauty and what y'all can see on the screen, y'all. If y'all can see on the screen, this next clip that he's about to play, the beauty of this is how I know the basketball guys were just on my side. It started because I was having a conversation with Jake, who just so happens to be right on the panel with me right here, right now. Right? So Jake knows, because it was his live and because the conversation started with Jake would be the first one to call me out to say, FYF is lying. FYF. So the beauty is Jake's right here. Remember, this wasn't even a conversation that involved Mez. He interjected himself into this next conversation. So remember, but we're going to systematically break this next conversation down as well. And this is why I appreciate Score Society. And this is why I'm glad that this happened on his platform. Because if this was on another Zesty Jeffrey platform, they would have just got disruptive. They wouldn't have let anybody talk. But Score Society held it down. He let me get my say, while Mez at least tried to get his say so when he can get his thoughts together without sounding super repetitive and silly. But because Score Society, this is his channel, and as Mez said, I'm trying to be respectful. He had to sit in silence while things got explained to him accurately and not inaccurately. Because again, remember, this basketball talk is connected to his ego. That's why. He doesn't like being wrong. Remember, y'all got to think about this. I don't know Mez. I have no issue with Mez. He just don't like me because of GOAT James Kingdom. That's it. He's attached hate to me because of somebody else. That's his ego talking. That has nothing to do with me. I don't really know the guy. Right? I think the worst thing I might have said about
this yesterday on Superstars Live. He was like, "Why is Lamont lying on my name?" I'm like,
no. Now we about to clear it all up. So we just cleared the first clip up. He just proved I was right. He played his own clips and his own clips cooked him. So now we're moving on to another clip because this shit went wrong quick for him. And so now we won't keep playing it.
Here, let's go down the path of him lying on my name continuously while I'm not around, and then me having to pull up the film to expose him.
Oh my God. He gonna pull up the one time where I make where I had a slip up.
And you lied.
So Scores. Remember how you said earlier, Scores?
And apologize.
Scores. Remember how you said earlier they just play on words.
I got people sending me a live. FYI, if you said I disagree, what? Hold on, brother.
Now, y'all, Glore. Now, the clip that he's about to play, y'all, is me talking to Superstar on another panel. But y'all know that these Zesty lives are just full of confusion. That's why we call them Muppet Baby lives. Their live streams are like the intro to the Muppet Baby show. Hoopla hollering, no organization, nothing. It's just madness everywhere. So as he plays this next clip, you're not going to be able to understand much, but I will break it down for you.
Hold on, brother. And before you saw a line on my name, I want you to know I got the recording. Go ahead, though.
I said, okay, then play it. I said,
no,
I said that the 96 Bulls, I said that the 96 Bulls had the best defense of the 90s, you disagree.
That's not what you said.
That is exactly what I said.
No, it's not. Oh, give me a second. Don't even trip. Y'all go ahead. Let me pull the film up. Don't even trip. Let me pull the film up. Y'all got to go ahead. Give me a second.
I am a scammer.
Lie, though. He said that Michael Jordan was winning championships and was winning with the best defense in the NBA, and by the numbers, by defensive metrics, he did not have the best defense. Hey, the Knicks had the best defense in the 90s. Analytics? The Knicks had the best.
Y'all hear that?
The same analytics you use in your book, but that's neither here nor there.
Y'all hear that? Y'all hear that?
Oh, is this the one that I apologize to you for being wrong about?
Oh, guys.
Is this the one where I apologize to you for being wrong about, man?
No. You said every year the Bulls won, they had the best defense. That's what you said, right?
No, I did not say that. No.
So why is everybody responding to that?
I said that. We're talking about.
Yes, you said that, brother. Yes, it's on live.
Hold on one second.
That's why I say stop talking over the film, brother. Listen. And I want to know where I disagree with them having the best defense in 96.
So, FYM. In basketball. Y'all just use defensive analytics, man. Y'all got to be smoking crack, man. Wait. So, the best field goal percentage against So, FYM. If you say the Bulls were the best defense in the 90s, is there something tangible that you're using to back up that? I always say this, that with defense, it's very hard to measure with numbers because great defense is hard to measure. You got to use eye tests. You got to look at consistency. You got to look at what that defense is doing to other great players. You got to look at how it's tearing right. Again, it's not going to always be better than numbers because the numbers, especially on the defensive end, can trick you. Steph Curry, at one point in time in 2022, was ranked top 10 in defensive rating. Does that mean he was a great defender?
Difference between the defensive metrics for the team and a player.
So again, use some numbers if you want to go down a stupid path. But anybody that says the Knicks defense in the 90s was better than the Bulls, you're smoking. You're just trying to sound right. You're just trying to sound right. Wait. So, Nick was in 90. So I lied because I don't use defensive. You lied because you said every year that Michael Jordan won, he had the best defense in the NBA. That's not true.
Play the part.
Nigga, look it up. I just told you the only year that Michael Jordan won, he had the best defense in the NBA was 1996. On that side. Hold on. Let me tell you how dumb you sound. Let me tell you how fucking dumb you sound.
Oh my God. Play the part. You're not even playing the right part all over.
98, 91.
Whose live is this that he's listening to?
This is Zesty live. It's a Zesty person's live. That's why you can't hear nothing. They all yelling. He's playing.
So he thinks you're wrong because you didn't use a defensive metric to talk about defense.
But watch how we hold on, y'all. I want y'all to listen because remember, y'all hear everything that's being said in this clip. This is the clip that he's playing, y'all. He's setting himself up for failure later on. He's setting himself up for failure. Now, because once, and again, salute to Score Society, once he lets me fully explain how the conversation came about, how Mez interjected himself and what Mez tried to do when he interjected himself, everything becomes full circle. And that's when you even see Score Society saying, oh, and the beauty of it, y'all, is that the guy whose stream it was on is right here on the panel, Jake. And if anything that I say is inaccurate, Jake is there to correct it. So we're going to keep playing. But right now, it just sounds like a whole bunch of BS mess because Mez is playing audio. Basically, Mez is playing audio that he had to hold his phone to another device to record, right? And it sounds super low quality. He doesn't have the actual audio. He's pieced a whole bunch of silliness together. It sounds like madness. It's very low quality. It's low budget. So let's just try to get through this horrible audio before we get to the real cook session. You can't hear nothing because it's Zesty.
A bunch of screaming.
Who is a better defensive team than the Bulls? This nigga's a
Oh my God. What's the point here? Like, I was hearing a bunch of screaming.
That's listen to the film, bro.
I can't see her. Wow. Nobody can hear it, man.
In that conversation that I disagree that the Bulls had the best defense.
Audio evidence right there, son.
Where? No, hold on. Lamont, at what point in that conversation did I disagree that the Bulls had the best defense in the NBA?
Now we're getting somewhere.
Because I was talking about the Bulls in the 90s. And then if you play the conversation further, we were what you provide in the paperback and hardback, everything doesn't translate over. So certain terms that I put.
Damn, you got a compilation of FYF? Damn. What the hell? See, I caught him.
What?
Hey, y'all. Mez let the clip play too long.
Holy shit.
So Mez let the clip play too long, and it played something else from a completely different live stream. This man, Mez, y'all, has a whole FYF Sports Lamont compilation audio in his phone. This is nasty work. Yeah, so watch. He not gonna say nothing about it, y'all, because he knows he screwed up. But watch this. We're gonna keep listening because this is when the real cook session is about to start.
When I submit the transcript,
God damn. This dude got a compilation of FYF film.
Why y'all talking over it?
What you got going on?
Why y'all talking over it?
Because we can't hear what the fuck they're saying.
Hold on. So let's do this real quick. So number one, what were the most dominant players in the NBA in the 90s? And what positions? Center. Who was the Bulls center? Who was the Bulls defensive center? Bill Cartwright.
Like disrespectfully, bro. Respectfully, bro.
So, like, I get what you're saying as far as the perimeter defense having two of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, having one of the most versatile defenders in the NBA, and then going to get a guy in Dennis Rodman in 1990s.
Think about this, y'all. Everything that he's saying, and I'm going to mention this later, he's literally taken everything that I said about the Chicago Bulls defense when I was talking to Jake, and he's now trying to regurgitate it like it's his take. He's just taking exactly what I said verbatim, and now he's trying to run it back to me as if I didn't already say these things, right? Because these is my reasons, but he's now trying to use them as his justification for why the Bulls had a good defense, when really he came onto the panel using defensive rating as his justification. Watch this, y'all.
Which is why when he brought up Dennis Rodman, Ron Harper talking about how he led the league in rebound, all this. That was in 1996, and in 1996, the Chicago Bulls had the number one defense in the NBA. So you don't always have to look at hopefully the defensive rating to determine who's actually good on defense. But yes, the defensive rating is going to determine what team
Hey, what do y'all give some context of what's going on right now? Because we got a bunch of new people in here.
I got you. So I'm gonna say
know
this
scores. You don't know scores.
Yeah, I need the context of what's going on.
I'm gonna say this.
No, you gotta let me tell it. And Jake's here too.
and FYF actually.
And Jake's here too because it was on Jake's.
One mic, one at a time.
Hey, Mon, let's hear your side and let's hear Matt's side. So everyone in here.
Yeah. So here's the because and Jake, if at any time, because this was your live, let me know if I'm lying, right? Because you're the one here. It was your live, and this specific conversation actually started with Jake. It wasn't even with Mez. Mez just buttled his way in just to talk to FYF Sports. Now,
nigga, actually, I got on the panel. I got on the panel. You was not even on the panel. Stop it. No, because you're lying again. I got on the panel. You were not there.
Look, we go ahead and both sides of the story because we got 67 people here. I know everybody don't know what's going on.
So here's the thing, Sector. I was talking to Jake. Jake asked me a question, right? About it was a Jordan question, obviously, and the question ended up leading us into what Jordan had, his help throughout, because the conversation was about the entirety of the 90s, right? Or at least the entirety of Jordan winning championships. So we're talking about Jordan's 6 championship years in totality. This is how the conversation starts. So in that clip, as much as we could hear, this is why you kept hearing me talk about the Bulls in totality having the best defense of the 90s, right? Because I was talking about Jordan's help. Jordan, when he won championships, always had the best, to me, defensive help. Right? When you look at the players he had, either whether it's the first three-peat or even the second three-peat. Now, what ultimately ended up happening was, and Jake, tell me if I'm wrong because I can't recall everything. When more people came up on the panel, as you know, Score Society, people try to interject with their individual points, and it starts to kind of change the conversation. So the conversation changed from us talking about Jordan's 6 championship years to point at individual. So I think somebody on the panel, I don't know if it was somebody, basically was true to having better defense Jordan's championship years, because which is why. Oh, the audio's choppy, man. Damn. Hold on. Let me see if the audio clears up, y'all. Because I said defensive rating is not a very good measurement. If you're using that to say the Knicks had a better defensive team in a specific year, like 93, right? I said that's a poor measuring stick because the Bulls had the best defense and got the best results with that defense, including beating the Knicks. And so so then I started to tear down a bit. The only reason why Mez in that conversation was even saying, at least to me in that conversation, was only saying the Bulls had the best defense in 96 because the only thing he was relying on was defensive rating, because in 96, what did the Bulls happen to have? The best defensive rating. And so this is why I say, but with the more people that come on the panel, the conversation starts to change. And so what ultimately ended up happening was I did in another conversation get confused about who was arguing what. And I even apologized to Mez for this. And I said that Mez said that the 96 Bulls didn't have the best defense. And I was wrong about that. And when Mez caught that out, he played the clip and I said, "You're right, Mez. I apologize. I was wrong on that." See, I can be a man and I can stand on 2 toes when I'm 100% wrong. But I can also say that the conversation, hold on, Mez, the conversation got so janky and mucked up because in my conversation with Jake about Jordan's 6 championship years, you have a whole bunch of people coming up with their own vendettas, with their own angles, trying to talk about it, making it about individual years, but not talking about the totality of the 90s, that's why I kept saying in the conversation, the Bulls had the best defense of the 90s. I wasn't keying in on one year, but the conversation just got messy because typically that's how Zesty Jeffries want the conversation to be. They want it to be messy.
Now we name calling.
Hey, let
That's just a clear identity.
Number one. Number one.
Now, Jake, was I wrong on anything, Jake?
So
I do remember it being the totality of the 90s. You were talking about the Bulls. It wasn't just one specific year. But let Mez go, though.
So from what I remember,
1996. Go ahead.
I was in the comment section. I was listening. They were debating. I didn't even request up on the panel until after FYF left. Once FYF left, I then got on the panel and I said he was wrong about that. The Bulls did not have the best defense every year they won a championship because that's what he said to Jake. Originally, what he talked about was having the best defense in the 90s overall. And then he told Jake in an argument that when they were debating, Michael Jordan, every year he won, had the best defense. I have it on recording. Please don't lie. He said Michael Jordan had the best defense every year Michael Jordan had the best defense every year he won, which then talks about a year-by-year argument. That's a year-by-year thing. If you're talking about he has the best defense every year he won, I got up on panel. I said, Jake, he was wrong about that. Michael Jordan did not have the best defense in the NBA every year that he won a championship. That's what the argument became
because
about.
Because of what? Because of defensive rating?
You told me let you talk. Let me talk. Then
because
Jake
of defensive rating?
Then Jake brought him back on panel, and then we proceeded to debate it out, which is kind of what y'all heard here. Then we went to arguing. Then we went to arguing about who had the best defense year by year. We argued about who had the best defense overall. He argued and laughed and said, "Oh, you guys are idiots," blah blah blah, threw a bunch of insults out. Because hold on, based on defensive metrics.
Mez has like a very vivid imagination, y'all. He takes one singular conversation and we'll split it up into like 9 different conversations. It was not that gapped out, y'all. This was all part of one just singular conversation. The man just like splits it up into like 19 different topics. This is not, but again, as we progress into it, we will corner him, y'all. We will corner. This was a systematic breakdown
that niggas were using, including me. I was one of the main guys talking about the defensive metrics. And then later on in the clip, once again, he lied and said, I never talked about anything but defensive rating, when literally in the clip, I literally broke down to him also using the defensive metrics. And I broke down to him about how they had certain individuals in Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen on the perimeter. And they also had a guy to deal with people inside the paint in Dennis Rodman, which is why they were the best defense in the NBA that 1 year, because he brought up 1 year and he brought up the players that were on the team in 1996. He got on the panel that I was not even a part of. I don't know why my name got brought up yet again. When I'm not around, my name's getting brought up. And he lied to everybody and told everybody that I was an idiot because I didn't agree with him that the Bulls had the best defense in 1996, to which I got on the panel after somebody told me what was going on. I played the clips. He then lied again and said, only thing I try to use with defensive rating. Then I played the clip of me breaking it down person by person. Then he lied again and said, play the clip further. I played the clip further. And then he apologized after he got caught lying on my name twice and said he was wrong about that. That's cool. I'm not mad at that. But what I am mad at is the argument that I'm consistently having is every time I'm not around, for some weird reason, Mez's name is getting lied on. Once again, the argument. Hold on, brother. I did not.
And secondly, y'all, to be honest, I don't know how they catch the few random moments over the course of a 6-hour live where we spend about 35 seconds even mentioning Mez. He makes it seem like we bring this man up every live. He tried to make himself relevant in our basketball conversations when he is supremely irrelevant. Y'all, again, do not let this man make y'all believe that we really care about what he says. We just use him as an example of what stupidity sounds like. And now he's just giving me a reason to use him as an even bigger example as to what stupidity in basketball talk sounds like. That's it. Now I'm just going to mess with him just to mess with him. Again, this is stupidity talking right now. We're going to clear it up, though.
Interrupt you.
What are you
then
talking
on top
about?
of that, the other clip that we played at first, when we were talking about, we weren't even just talking about Tim Duncan.
Now he's trying to go back to the previous clip that we already cooked him on, because he has to do some cleanup work on that last clip. So he got to do some cleanup work on that last clip because that one didn't go out the way he wanted it. So now he got to backtrack, go back to the last clip to try to clean that up because it didn't end the way he wanted it to end. Watch this.
And who's calling out whatever the fuck whoever called. We were arguing that Tim Duncan and David Robinson co-anchored the defense, which is kind of funny because
why are you going back to that?
Hold on, brother. I didn't interrupt you because he told me that no, they were not co-anchoring the defense, and at no point was Dennis Rodman ever the defensive anchor over Tim Duncan, which is a different conversation. That's the conversation we actually were having in the Tim Duncan debate. Then he specifically said, "Oh, Mez, you know when what's the last series you watched?" I said the last series I probably watched out of Tim Duncan and David Robinson playing together was 99 versus the Lakers. He said, cool, good. What were they calling out?
You see how he tries to tell us what the clip said? We just heard the clip. You don't have to try to tell us. You just played it and you got caught. That's it. It's over with. But they try to, and they do this. This is why they don't record their lives like Johnny says. They try to give you their own rendition of what was said versus actually playing the clip. And we know when we just played the clip, he cooked himself. Now he's trying to give you the fake rendition so he can talk himself up out of it.
On that series, I said, I said, they were, both of them were yelling out a lot of things because they both were co-ranking the defense. That was my point. I'm not going to act like I know what color they're calling out because I don't fucking know. Then he said, well, as the anchor, you yelling out colors. What you think they're yelling out the colors for? I said, if they're yelling out the colors, they're calling out different defensive sets. He said different defensive coverages. I said, hey, different defensive sets, coverages. You know what, brother? You know what I meant. What are you talking about? At no point did I make anything up. You were making shit up because you wanted to win a debate and you thought you got me and I got you.
Can I ask you one question?
I have no problem admitting when I'm fucking wrong about nothing.
Okay, so
and this is why I don't talk.
Because the main reason why the panel, like I specifically erupted, is because when, and again, it might not have been Mez. Like, so we're not going to put this on Mez, but somebody was on the panel saying that the Bulls weren't the best defensive team in some of those championship years because of defensive rating. I laughed at that because I said I don't use defensive rating. So, Miz, let me ask you this question. Because you did mention that the Bulls had the best defense in 1996, but it was after you basically regurgitated everything that I said that made the Bulls defense great.
That's a lie. I got it on recording.
Hold on, let me finish.
Hey, Score Society, get GJK up. Go ahead.
You then just repeated everything that I said about the Bulls defense verbatim.
Brother, you never.
So hold on, let me finish because I'm asking my question. So let me ask my question. So my question is this. So obviously you think that during any of those 6 Bulls championship years outside of 1996, do you feel like, for example, I would assume that you think that the Bulls didn't have the best defense in 1993 as well, correct? And if it's not because of defensive rating, which was my entire, hold on, let me finish my question. If it was not because of
I'm asking you
defensive,
to repeat your question. I didn't hear what you said. Go ahead.
okay, so I'm getting to my question. So again, because my whole question was framed around using defensive rating to say the Bulls didn't have the best defense, because that's the only thing that you can try to use to say that the Bulls didn't have the best defense in those championship years. It's the only metric that you can point to, because there's no eye test, there's no film, there's nothing else that can suggest otherwise. So my thing to you is, since you weren't using defensive rating as you're pretending now, what made the Knicks a better defense than the Bulls in 1993?
I just said I use defensive rating.
What made the Knicks a better defensive team than the Bulls in 1993?
I'm trying to figure out why.
Answer that question.
You're sitting here in front of everybody.
Answer that basketball question, man.
Everybody just heard me.
Answer the basketball question, man.
Everybody just heard me say, brother.
Man, don't be vague. Answer a basketball question.
Everybody, and once again, brother,
tell
you gotta
the
listen to
world
what I'm saying.
Well, how do you know
answer
basketball?
your question then. You answer this. You don't want me to answer.
No, I'm saying this is not about the topic. I'm trying to get to basketball. So again, if you're willing to say, because remember my stance, and I was very clear on this with Jake, I think the Bulls had the best.
So you don't want to hear my answer.
League.
You want to answer for me? Go ahead.
I'm gonna answer the question again, so you're clear. I'm gonna ask you again.
I know exactly what
clear.
your question is. If you let me
I'm very clear
without interrupting me, you're gonna
I'm very clear. Hold on, man. Let's not make the conversation muck it up so people can't hear.
Brother, you don't
I'm gonna
want
let
to talking when you ask me a question.
Okay, so let me finish the question so you know exactly what I'm talking about. As you said, as you even said, I was
fellas,
very clear.
we gotta talk one at a time because that makes sure everybody can hear everything.
Yes. I was very clear about the fact that I think the Bulls had the best defense of the 90s, and I didn't need, and I don't use any defensive rating metric to think so. I broke down to Jake, and me and Jake had our disagreement on certain things. That's neither here nor there. But I broke down in basketball terms what the Bulls were good at, the strategy, scheme, things like that, why I felt they were the best defensive team in the league, and I did not use defensive rating. You or someone in your party brought up defensive rating.
It wasn't my life.
Let me finish. To a certain degree, you possibly co-sign that. But if you don't co-sign that, and you think that the Bulls didn't have the best defense in 1993, can you tell us in basketball terms, without using defensive rating, how the Knicks had a better defense than the 93 Chicago Bulls?
So I like what you're doing here. The point of the story is you lied on my fucking name. So now it's not about the fact that you got caught lying on my name multiple times. Now you want to have a real conversation. So cool. Once again,
he knows he can't answer the question.
Answer the question. He
can't answer it, y'all.
Without using defensive rating. He can't.
Exactly. And this why boy be getting on this about it a lot. Because I said that. Remember, when I was talking with Jake, all Mez did, y'all, he was sitting in the comments just basically saying, how can I find something to say that FYF is wrong? The only thing that he could use to say that I'm wrong is defensive rating. There's nothing you can explain to me. You can't tell me nothing eye test wise that tells me the Knicks in 93 were a better defensive team than the Bulls. There's nothing that you can say. He only came up with defensive rating. He's now trying to pretend that he was using other things, and he's just trying to explain himself out of this silly situation that he's gotten himself in because he wants to keep running to clips thinking he's cooked somebody, but he's cooked absolutely nothing at all. And so now I've cornered him because now he has the opportunity to explain to all of us, if you weren't using defensive rating for the 1993 season to say that the Knicks had a better defense than the Bulls, then tell us why the Knicks in 93 had a better defensive team. Talk about those players. Talk about those schemes. Talk about Pat Riley. And when he gets the opportunity to do that, y'all, he just cries. I want y'all to listen to how bad this man starts crying.
And I'll answer your question. Like I told you that day on the live, when I came on there, I said, once again, I came on there, and yes, I used defensive rating. Everybody on the panel just heard me say that.
Didn't he? Now he's admitting that he used defensive rating.
Everybody in the live just heard me say, I also broke down the personnel in combination with the defensive rating, and I actually just played that clip. So you don't have to try to reason your way out of the fact that you've been lying on my name behind my back to try to take it to a whole conversation. Brother, I'm not breaking anything down to you because this is about me lying on your name. I don't care to talk basketball.
This is why I say clown.
Now it goes you get exposed to lying on my name. Now you want to have a basketball conversation. So once again, if you listen to the live, I broke it down to you.
I'm trying to get it back to basketball scores. I tried to get it back to basketball. He ran from basketball.
Because y'all guys are lying. Because every 5 seconds I gotta listen to y'all lying on my name. So once again, brother, the conversation between you and I, I would appreciate it if you stop lying on my name.
Kermit the Frog Muppet, baby.
That's it. It's always
Skelter. Take your ass up out of here. We talk real basketball.
Stop lying. You don't talk
real hooper wouldn't have ran from
Get his ass.
You ran from
Get his ass, Lamont.
Keep lying on my name.
Score society. Real hoopers don't run from basketball.
Stop lying on my name, brother. I'd appreciate that.
Was a bit of a basketball question.
Stop lying on my name.
Get him, Lamont.
I know.
That's it, man. No ball talk. No ball talk today.
Hey, score. Like I said before, brother. I ain't
That's what they do. That's what they do, Sean.
These niggas right here, I'm constantly finding them lying on my name.
Oh my God,
I don't really care. I don't really care to do that. And once again, it's funny how now those Kingdom wants to join the channel, but he wouldn't join the channel yesterday. So once again,
Hey, Adrian for the chat. Score Society didn't get involved. Score Society, we was having a beautiful conversation about something else that Mez clearly started to realize he was outclassed in. And as Mez said this about 10 times, guys, I got to go. He kept saying, I got to go. This is my last question. I got to go. Obviously, he didn't have nothing to do. He didn't have to go anywhere, right? Because he stuck around every time any of his talking points got thrown into the garbage can to try to explain to us why he was right. That's all he kept doing. In this situation right here, this is the second clip that he's on. The first clip, he absolutely barbecued himself. We laughed at him. Now, in the next clip, everybody else can hear in 4K audio what's going on here. And we gave Mez an opportunity. If you weren't using defensive rating, then tell us what you were using to say the Bulls weren't the best defense in some of these years. Right? He's running now. Now he's pretending. He's pretending that we hurt his feelings. Now he's pretending that we've been being too mean. No, I don't really talk about you. I don't do videos about you. I don't save clips of what you say. Right? We just drop full videos. Right? You are, and this is in all honesty for Mez. You are very irrelevant in basketball spaces when it comes to anything in regards to real basketball talk. You are irrelevant. You're not even a real TikToker. You can't even do that.
You know why he was able to give an analogy on the Bulls because he heard what you said.
Remember,
you didn't talk about them. You didn't talk about them Knicks. That's why he couldn't break that shit down.
But look, y'all. Scores is going to kind of force him to start talking about the Knicks and watch what he starts saying. Because remember what I said earlier. He only talks in vague generalities. But when he finally tries to start speaking about that Knick 93 roster, listen to how it sounds. Hold on. We're probably getting close to it.
Line on my name. That's simple for me. Y'all have a good
Get him in, Johnny.
Man, you mad about
I appreciate it, Sports Society. Let me know when I'm live and I'll jump back up in the chat, bro.
All love, bro. All love, man.
Now, Scores.
Get him in, Johnny.
Scores.
What's up, big
now,
dog?
I tried to, Scores, just to be fair. I tried to level set the conversation by taking it back to the root of what I was talking about in the conversation that he played. And see what he did when I asked the basketball question, because he was, remember, in that conversation, Scores,
Right.
The conversation was about you lying on my
I only
name.
took it to
Now you're
level
trying to
10
take it to
scores.
basketball talk, but you
Scores.
clearly lied on my name. That's the
I
problem.
know. I got you. Scores. I only took it to level 10 when I heard them say that defensive ratings were made these other teams better. We got you, man.
It's kind of funny now how you got caught lying on the tape.
Well, he keeps saying the same thing over and over, but he's giving us no information. He keeps saying, you got caught lying. You got caught lying, but he's not giving us any information. He's not trying to address the topic. He's avoid addressing it. All right, come on. Watch this. No, I'm asking, why do you, man, we talking basketball now. Quit crying.
You got caught multiple times lying on the basketball conversation
we don't believe you, man.
having,
You
and
cooked
now you
yourself
want to
with
try
your
to
own
act
clip.
like you're trying to leave it on the level ground.
We got you.
No, brother, you keep lying on my name, and I'm just trying to figure out why.
Can I finish what I was saying to Scores?
And you don't want to talk about avoiding.
Can I finish what I was saying to Scores?
You wanted to panel when you refused to debate.
Can I finish? Can I finish my conversation with Scores?
I asked a simple question. Why
obviously wasn't trying to talk
This is not a
basketball.
basketball conversation I'm having with you, brother. The whole point and everything right now is about the fact that you brought your little hyenas on the fucking panel.
I didn't bring
You got
anybody.
caught lying on my name again.
We here. We everywhere.
We here, nigga. Yeah, we here. We here, bro.
You can only hide in your lives.
My point
You can only hide for so long,
society. Respectfully, brother, you brought all these niggas up. All these niggas ain't need to be here because this
Scores, they do the same thing to
FYI. Between me and Lamont. And the reality, hold on.
Y'all do the same thing when you come on y'all.
I'm telling them to be quiet. I want to hear.
Hey, you know,
Hold up, y'all. Hold up.
I got no beef. I know you rock with buddies. I ain't gonna. That's not my problem.
Listen,
My issue is this.
I rock with you
Hold on,
too, man.
Score.
What you
It's the
talking
conversation that we were not having about him lying on my name. Now he wants to try and turn it into a basketball conversation. No, the reality is stop lying on my name.
Hey, man.
Stop lying on my name, brother.
Hey, Mez, the conversation started with you wanted to know why he was lying on your name,
and that's where I'm keeping the conversation.
Hold up. All right, so you put the video, the voice recording out there,
and he lied.
And all right, fair enough. That's all that y'all was debating about. Now he's trying to take it to basketball.
No, but score aside, respectfully, brother. I know you don't be around like that.
Yeah.
You see how he keeps cutting people off? He tried not to let Scores. He's the host of the show. He keep cutting even Scores off.
He's mad because you caught him out agreeing to the lie that you made up. That's why he's mad.
Now he's just even more mad. But hold on, watch out. But again, it's gonna get worse for him.
The issue here is not basketball talk. I've been doing this shit for years. Everybody, I've been debating people. I don't care about
people have said far worse to you.
The issue I have,
people have talked about your mama, your daddy. People called you out your name. Quit acting like what I said.
Hold up, Mont. Let me hear what you gotta say, my boy, bro.
The issue I'm having right now is now he wants to try to regurgitate a basketball conversation because he's gotten caught lying on my name 4 times today, and I played the video evidence on it. The reality is I didn't want to have a basketball conversation with him. We talked a little about KJ, about Jason Kidd. I left it there. I told you I was about to get off the panel. My argument right now, you want to, it's about basketball now. It's not about basketball when every time I'm turning around, you're lying on me, calling me an idiot, and you're lying on my name. So that's all I want. I don't care about niggas recording. I don't care about niggas trying to make money off my name. I don't care about niggas needing content. That's not why I'm here. I come here to talk basketball for fun. Problem is, why do I gotta keep
we don't need the Martin Luther King I have a dream speech, man.
And we have genuine basketball discussion.
We heard you. He keeps repeating the same thing over and over, man. Listen to this. Oh man. Hold on. I just messed up the spot. Hold on.
The issue is that my name continuously gets lied on. No matter whether niggas agree with my basketball takes or not, I stand on all 10. Don't try to turn it into a basketball conversation after I'm confronting you about continuously lying on my name. Every time I turn up, FYF got something to say about Mez. It's Mez this, Mez that. This is not even close to all I have. So I'm simply saying this. I'm going to leave the conversation here. Stop talking about my name. Stop lying on me. And that's it. I don't care to talk with y'all. Y'all lie to me.
Respect, bro.
No, hold on. May I respond?
I respect you too, Score. So, hey, brother,
can I respond to that right quick, Sean?
Hold on.
Stop lying on my name, y'all. Y'all have a good day.
May I respond?
Hold on. Let me say one thing, Go James, please. Let me say one thing. Scores. So the reason why I asked that particular question, right, and I tried to take it back to basketball, because it takes us to the core of that conversation. So if he's going to say that I'm lying about that conversation, then he should have no problem answering that question because that was the core of the conversation.
I agree with that.
The core of the conversation is that once, and remember, it was Jake's lie. You see how logical people, it's very easy to understand what I was doing. Score Society, again, is not dumb. He put that together very quickly. It wasn't that I wasn't trying to have a debate with Mez. I was just trying to get him to answer a question. Because if you're going to say that I'm lying on you, this question is directly tied to you saying that. But he's trying to make the question, he's trying to make this entire conversation messy. He's trying to get people to forget about the clip that he played, the context. And he keeps throwing out stuff to try to feel like his feelings are hurt because we called him stupid. Again, nobody cares about your feelings. Again, stick to the facts. Score Society didn't forget, right? What did Jake tell you? He said that's pretty much exactly how FYF said. And so what I've said was, if you say I'm lying, then you should be able to tell us why the 93 Knicks were the best defense in the NBA without saying defensive rating. Because it was my contention that the only thing that they were using to make that, because what happened was, he was right. He was in the comments, but what he was doing, he was Googling. So when I said that the Bulls had the best defense in the 90s, the first thing he went to do to try to disprove me was, let me go to defensive rating, because defensive rating is the only statistical argument that you can make for the Bulls not having the best defense in the 90s. But anybody with a brain knows that makes absolutely no sense.
None.
Right? So, and that was my whole contention. And it was after I did all this explaining about how good the Bulls defense was without using defensive rating that he tried to tail on with it. But you've already put yourself in this bed of people that use defensive rating. And to me, that is very low level basketball talk. Me and you both know that. That has nothing to do with the best defensive team in basketball. We saw the Lakers have the 15th best defense in the league. We got to the playoffs. They turned the dial up on defense and they ran through the playoffs, right? Because again, it's a lot of things that go into being a great defense, not defensive rating, right? Yeah. And that was my whole contention. So I can stand on saying that the Bulls had the best defense every time Jordan won the championship because I don't need a defensive rating. That is not the tell. It was the Bulls' versatility. It was Pippen. It was Phil Jackson's consistent schemes, being able to switch it up, like in '96, running full court press on teams, right? Even finding a way to get Ron Harper to change his game and become a defensive player when he was an offensive player. So these are the things I hinge on. I try to talk real basketball. And that question, y'all, that I asked Mez he didn't want to answer that question because that question really would expose the whole core of the conversation. You can't talk basketball. You try to use vague terms like defensive rating and generalities to hide behind. And so instead of actually breaking down the game, telling me why the Knicks had a good defense, you hide behind defensive rating. And that was similar to how he was doing with you, KJ, because he kept talking about what Kevin Johnson was doing as a scorer. With good defense, he's not a scorer, right? When I remember we came up here, I talked about how the Bulls just put B.J. Armstrong on and picked him up full court. He's no longer scoring. They blitzed every pick and roll. He can't get into the paint.
Hold on.
Let me address because I came up in here in the entertainment fashion and got my name stained upon disrespectfully by the same Zesty Jeffries that I have covered.
Go James, good, bro.
What's good, Sean? Peace and blessings, Sean. Listen, Sean. These dudes are cowards. If there's actual footage of this, play the whole live. Let everyone see the whole conversation. This is available for them to show for everyone. They hide stuff. They sit around here and manipulate stuff. Look.
Hold on, we got Froggy Green. Froggy Green. You can feel free to click the link and come up here and explain to us why defensive rating is the best metric used to talk about great defensive teams.
Yeah, do it while I'm here. I'm froggier than you.
So again, Froggy, Froggy, just because you see a whole bunch of other casuals use it, does that now tell you why it's accurate? When I can give a million examples to show you why it's not inaccurate, right? Individual player defensive rating is flawed. Team defensive rating is according to Synergy and according to its own creator, it's flawed, and it's never supposed to be used as a standalone stat. Defensive rating is a metric that's supposed to be used in combination with other defensive stats. And it's never supposed to be used to compare teams across eras. Again, it has its own flaws. It's too flawed. It's basically one human being selectively choosing what is valuable on the basketball court, combining it all to a metric and giving it to you. Now you have to agree with what some random nerd says is valuable on the defensive side of the basketball. Why don't you just use your own eyes? You think I need a defensive analytic to know that the Spurs got a good defense? You think I need defensive analytics to know that the OKC Thunder got a good defense? My eyes can show me that. And again, Mez in this particular conversation only went to defensive rating because it's the only thing he could come on the panel with to say I was wrong. Remember, he sat in the comments, trying to Google information just to say I was wrong. But because my thoughts on the Chicago Bulls were subjective with my own eye test, and I didn't use analytics, he could never say I'm wrong. But he likes to come in and try to be the authority. He tries to come in and say he lied. Remember, he's the one that came in and said, I lied. He said the Bulls had the best defense in the 90s. That's my opinion. If you feel otherwise, then tell us your opinion. Don't tell me defensive rating. I'm going to laugh at you. You are not a serious basketball talking mind. That's why we say, well, you're not serious. And that's why Score Society makes videos and say, you get those types of people, they only run around looking for gotcha moments. Oh, I got you with defensive rating. Get somebody else with defensive rating. I don't use that silliness. Because once you start using defensive rating, you now have to always use defensive rating. Because you guys don't care about Bill Russell's defensive rating. Right? Y'all don't care about defensive rating when it hurts your argument. But you all of a sudden care about defensive rating when you think it might help your argument. Or you can just use your eyes. But you can't use your eyes because Mez, one, doesn't know the 93 Knicks roster. He doesn't know what they did defensively. And he probably didn't even know that Pat Riley coached him. We'll hear this later when we play the clip. Watch this.
So he did. So he didn't take a step back. He didn't take a step back. No time in this video.
No, so he took a step back. Remember, he said he got to go. But now, as you can see on the screen, he brought his ass back up on the panel because the barbecue session was getting crazy, right? And hey, Johnny's just going to turn it into all talks and types of jokes, going to have everybody laughing. And now it's just going to get crazy. So it's going to get crazy for a second.
Lamont, before you play that, I want to say something.
Yeah.
We don't ever if you were to ask me that question, I would tell you what the Bulls were doing, like schematically, like how when we're watching the game, we don't bring up defensive rating. Yes. Oh, the team's defensive rating in the second quarter is on 109. Like nobody does that. So we talk about what the teams are doing, like OKC, what they're doing right now. They're shrinking the floor on Wemby. They're helping off of weak shooters, things like that sort. You feel me? But using defensive rating as a broad stat without pairing it up with other stuff. And a lot of times there's common denominators between great defense and defensive rating, but it's not the end all be all. Like, especially in when we're talking about a nuance, a conversation like the Bulls in the 90s as a whole. You feel me? And that's all I got to say. That's crazy.
Hello, Lamont.
Yep.
I was just gonna say, I think my whole problem is like using defensive rating. Like, I feel like it should be used as an idea for an argument, but not the main argument on like why a defense is so great. Because I do think with defensive rating, sometimes it's skewed by like one player's defensive value more than like the actual scheme and what they're running. So that's all I gotta say. But continue.
No, you're right. And like I say, I think you can use defensive rating to give you, for example, a bundle of teams to start with, right? Right. If you want to use defensive rating to say, okay, now we have 10 teams that we can now evaluate as the potential best defensive teams in the league. I'm cool with that. If you just need to use the rating to dwindle the number of teams down that you're evaluating so you can just deal with a realistic number of teams to really evaluate, I'm cool with that. But like you said, remember, Mez came into this conversation and he said that I lied and said the Bulls had the best defense every time they won the championship in the 90s. I didn't lie because I don't use defensive ratings. He's just hung around so many low-level basketball minds that the only way they can talk about defense is with defensive rating. He's not used to somebody talking basketball without using a defensive rating to justify it. Like if I say a team's the best offensive team in the league, I best believe I'm going to give you a whole bunch of things about that team before I get to offensive rating. Don't need an offensive or defensive rating. But remember, that's why I pushed that question on them. If you came up here and you weren't using defensive rating, then tell me why the Knicks in 93 had a better defense than the Bulls without using defensive
Lamar,
rating.
it's simple because you already know several basketball players in this. If you got Six Pick or Gil on here to tell you how they talk about defense, the last thing they're going to say is defensive rating.
That's it.
That's the last thing they're going to say.
We have Six Pick up here all the time. When we hear about Dennis Rodman, he says nothing about defensive rating. Right? When he talks about Scottie Pippen, he says nothing about this stuff. Again, no real basketball mind's going to – again, I get where the analytic has its use. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to use these analytics to join a panel and say, you're wrong, well, that just makes you look like – that's why Scores Society says these guys run around just looking for gotcha moments. He thought he had something with defensive rating as if it's just universally understood that everybody uses defensive rating to determine what a good defensive team is, when that has never been the case. That's him. That's him. Because remember, this is why when I really targeted him early on in this video, I said these are very low-level basketball minds that pretend to know the game. What's the easiest way to pretend you know how to talk basketball? Run to a few analytics that look and sound good. If you know, pick out a few analytics, and anybody can try to sound knowledgeable, right? But now when we challenge you and say, well, let's start talking outside the analytics, don't run from the basketball conversation. Here, I'll play a little bit more, and I know it gets a little bit helter-skelter.
All he had to do was say they just played a physical style of half-court man-to-man. That's all he had to do.
But he can't. But
that's not better than the Bulls, though.
But he can't do that because I've already said at the beginning of the stream, I said what Mez does is he talks in vague generalities. Like, and I gave the example, right? And for like Glore or somebody up here, if y'all ask me what made Dikembe Mutombo a great defender, and I said Dikembe Mutombo was a great interior presence and stopped right there, is that answer going to suffice? Isn't that very vague, right?
Yeah.
That's too vague.
Pretty much. Yeah.
And especially if let's say I was making the contention that Mutombo is the greatest defender, greatest post defender of the 90s. And you guys asked me what made him a great defender, and I say he was a great interior presence. Well, if you're going to say, like for me, if you're going to say that a team had a better defense than the Chicago Bulls in any of the years that they won a championship, you better not be vague, because that's a very high standard to beat.
Yeah.
The Chicago Bulls of the 90s is an extremely high standard. So you put yourself in, now you have to explain to us in basketball terms how this Knicks team exceeds this standard. And when he's asked to explain that, we see very quickly that he tries to turn the conversation into something else as opposed to just answering the basketball conversation. And he has to now pretend that this doesn't go hand in hand into him saying, into him making all these claims that I lied on him, right? But he's right now he's just doing a pretend job. But we'll play a little bit more of it, and hopefully we can get through some of the mucked up parts, because it does get a little wild with Go James Kingdom up here.
He's gonna come down and be very disrespectful. Look. He's just, I don't know what he got playing in the background, but he's gonna be disrespectful.
He playing the field.
This is how they do. I was very patient. Speak. Can you mute him right quick so I can get my take off right quick? I'm not gonna be long.
Hold on.
So, like, I get what you're saying.
Oh, no.
Perimeter defense, having two of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, having one of the most versatile defenders in the NBA.
Can you pause it, please? Can you mute him, please?
Hold on. Hey, man, I'm going to mute you because go. Hey,
mute him.
Mute you real quick. You was explaining, bro. One second.
That was in 1996. In 1996.
You got to kick him and bring him.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Go ahead, bro.
Again, they can show this for anybody. He's talking about people
Scores,
using content.
but he's lying again.
Hold on, I didn't even get a chance to talk. Man, you got to let me speak, brother. You got to stop being a little man. You got to let me speak. We heard you rant, bro. We heard you speak,
brother. I went mute. Go ahead, speak.
Okay, so now, again, addressing these Zesty Jeffries like mini Glock. who sit around here on these private TikTok lives, on these private Discords, who talk disrespectfully of all kind of LeBron fans or people who don't have Michael Jordan as their GOAT. They sit around here, bully people. He runs around here with the worst of the worst, the most toxic people on the internet who could only be on TikTok live. They can't go nowhere else to talk basketball. If he has these footages, we ask again, all of them, Blind Vision, No Ball Talks, Mini Glock, Mark Little, Young Miami, whoever else, Zesty Star, release the film. Show everybody the conversation. Stop lying and playing bits and pieces like Glock claims other people do to him. No, everything GOAT James Kingdom talks about is available on GOAT James Kingdom, the entire conversation. And not only that, we continue to make fun of you, Zesties, because you can't talk basketball. And that's the facts.
Let him talk, GOAT.
Now I'm done. That's what I had to say. I had to address these little Zesty Jeffries because they think they can talk about GOAT James Kingdom as if we can't shoot back. Trust me.
Lie. You're a pretty weak debater, too.
Or whatever, sir. Show the film, sir. Show the film. Release
the film is out there,
footage.
brother. I've been frying you for years.
Release
We can
the
get the
footage.
rest
So
of
we
it.
got
We
more
can
footage
get to the
than
film and
you
you crashing out, can't answer questions. You easy
you
work.
can show.
You
We got
easy
more
work, brother. I ain't
footage
gonna
than
lie.
you can show. Okay,
Yes,
exactly.
sir.
Don't be playing off of your little
Fucking 50-year-old man acting
Bluetooth
like that.
speaker.
You too old for that, brother.
Nobody care about your little
You too
Bluetooth
old for that,
speaker.
brother.
Go
You too old for
post
that.
it. Post it. Nobody cares about your mini
Y'all a
muscles.
little too old for that. I ain't gonna lie.
And they have some obsession. I guess they think everybody's 50 years old. They call me 50. They calling a Johnny 50. I forgot there was somebody else they called 50. I think it was Black James Bond. I guess he's 50 now. They have some again, trying to speak from some authority like he's above all of this. Bro, like if any of us were 50, what would it matter? That my thing is like, what would any of this have to do? The fact that you came up here and made a fool of yourself, what does anybody being 50, if anybody is 50, have to do with anything? He
ain't have nothing else to say. That's why he said that.
But watch,
he ain't got nothing else.
He's about to start talking again, and he's about to embarrass himself even further.
Is he ever get to the point of the Knicks?
Mini muscles.
Huh? Say that again. Watch what he does when he starts trying to talk about the Knicks. Watch this. And I want y'all to remember what I said. Remember, it all stems, I've always said this about Mez. He shotguns points in vague generalities and then tries to say, after he shotguns a whole bunch of vague talking points, he'll say, I cooked you. This means nothing. It only sounds good when you're on a panel with all ball, a whole bunch of people that struggle to get their GEDs. It don't work with us. Come on, man.
Hey, Maz, go ahead, man. Hey, go, let him talk. Go, let him talk, bro. Let him talk, bro.
I got the footage. I'm gonna put myself on mute so you can cry like a little girl you always been.
Y'all funny as shit, bro. Maz, go ahead, bro.
Hey, Mini Glock, go ahead, bro.
Hey, Olo, calm down, brother. You're not in these conversations. Anyway, like I said, we know Olo is nigga just laugh historically alive. Never really debate. You gotta work your way up. Stop dick riding up.
Stop addressing Olo and address me.
Like I said, at the end of the day, brother, I ain't gonna lie, all y'all too old for that. Y'all way too old.
I told you I got dreadlocks older than you.
Like, when you gonna be
I told you I got dreadlocks older than you. That's why you
I don't care
got
about your dreadlocks, brother.
You should listen then.
And I agree with you. You got dreadlocks older than you. Act younger than me.
I'm gonna teach you something.
That's the
I'm gonna teach you something.
You can learn something.
Rule number one. Don't trust a nigga with a snow bunny.
Don't nobody care. Don't nobody care. Anyway,
hey, let him
I just
talk.
want to know is FYF literally going to sit here and lie and act like nobody never broke down the actual teams, broke down why the actual Bulls had the best defense in '96, broke down why the Knicks had a better defense. He said this exact same thing on live, and I played the clip. Unfortunately, everybody act like they hear it. I just want to know why niggas have such a hard. Can you please bring Amani Visitor? He got all the recordings. Why do we got to sit here? Why do we have to sit here and act?
Then break it down now.
Why do we have to sit here and lie? I just this is my thing. I don't care who agrees or who don't.
Then break
I don't
it down
even care
now.
that you niggas got to speak on my name to get y'all whatever y'all need from that shit. The problem is though, what's the point in lying though?
Then break it down now.
No,
because it's
what's
all
the point
private
lying about a
conversations.
conversation that we
Yo,
previously had?
No, if I'm lying, then break it down now.
It's private conversations. You haven't showed the conversation.
What's the problem with you continuing?
If I'm lying, then just break it down now.
No,
We can
no,
talk
this
it
is
ain't,
about it.
brother. That's
recorded
not
now.
how this shit
This
gonna
is
work.
recorded now.
The
People gonna
problem
hear it
is,
now.
the problem
That's why.
is,
If I'm
you
lying,
want to
then
try to
just break
have an
it down.
honest basketball conversation now,
This is
but
honest.
you don't. But
Have
all
it.
the
You're still
times
crying
I'm trying to
about
have honest
everything else
basketball
but
dialogue with
basketball.
y'all niggas, y'all lie so much that it don't even matter.
If I'm lying, then just break it down for
Brother,
us now,
no,
real
you're
quick.
lying because
Lamont, we
you're
know the
lying
difference
because I
now
played the
is
film, brother.
he know the difference now. This is recorded. This is why he's scared to talk because it's recorded. He knows this is on live. He knows
I
this.
don't care about
He's a coward.
that. Don't move me, brother.
He's
This
a
don't pay no
coward.
bills for me. This is
Cowards,
y'all content
cowards
creator. I
get
don't.
treated like cowards.
Y'all content creator. I don't.
So why you here?
I'm trying to get
Because I
this
like
to
y'all
Society is a
basketball.
content
I like
creator.
y'all basketball.
Look, the reason why
Lamont's
they
a
always have
content
an out,
creator.
they
You
always have
are
an
a
out because they
Zesty
say that
Jeffrey
we're
on
not talking
private
basketball.
discourse.
I'm asking a basketball question
Man, what's the damn question?
because the basketball question will expose the entire conversation.
Now,
No,
what's
the
the
question
actual
is to
question?
for mini
Don't worry
Glock,
about
man.
it,
You
Herm. You
can't
late.
save
Don't
mini
worry about
Glock.
it if you don't know by
It's
now.
for mini
I
Glock.
don't
Mini Glock
need to be
has to
saved from
address it.
shit, nigga. I already talked to F1.
Then you have to go
Knock
Oh
Herm
my
out.
God. Hey,
Let's
can you
go
be
get
quiet real
Mark
quick?
Tittle.
Can you be quiet? Can
Let's
you
go
be
get Mark
quiet?
Tittle.
Fellas, look. I gotta mute this shit because I want to get it off. But here's what I got from this whole situation. But Mez don't want y'all lying on his name. Mont
That's
trying to
simple.
figure out. All right, look, I ain't gonna lie on your name. Let's get to the basketball.
I ain't gonna
shit.
lie
You
your name
said-
no more.
All right, fair enough. And he said, look, let's get to the basketball shit. Mez, you willing to talk about basketball today, bro?
I mean, I already told him. He asking the same question I asked. We talked about what the best players were. We talked about what the best players were in the 1990s, especially in the early years of the 90s. We talked about where they scoring impact
Well, just
came
answer
from
it
in
now.
the NBA. We talked about where the scoring
Well,
impact
answer
came
it
from
now.
in the NBA.
Just answer it
We
now.
talked about the interior presence of guys like Patrick Ewing, guys like Charles Oakley.
Bro, what
We
the
talked
fuck?
about the
What
guys
is he
on the perimeter
doing?
like John Stockton. We already had this. I'm John Stockton.
He said we talked about the interior. We didn't talk about none of this. We didn't talk about no interior presence. And remember, he keeps using the word. We talked about the interior presence, man. Like, watch this, y'all. This is crazy.
My fault.
You just said a whole bunch of vague
we had
generalities.
this
Talk
whole
basketball.
we had this whole conversation on the live. That's what I'm saying. Why do we got to
answer
sit
it?
here?
We can have the conversation again.
Brother,
Answer.
I don't. That's not the point of my conversation. You asked me to break it down
Sean?
to you. I'm
See,
giving
Sean?
you.
You didn't break
Why I
nothing
said what I
down.
said,
Hey, hold on.
Sean?
Look how
That was
y'all
just vague
act. Look how
generalities.
y'all act.
Sean,
Look at how y'all
Sean,
act,
you see
brother.
what you see, Sean, this is my point, Sean, this is my point. Sean, we wouldn't have Sean, we would not need this conversation, Sean, if they would just release the
Brother,
footage
I'm
so
answering
everyone
his
can see for
question.
themselves. They don't never want to show the footage, man.
They're not gonna let niggas
You're not talking basketball. As soon as you leave, basketball will be talked. I guarantee
I'm
it.
good.
As soon as you leave,
I appreciate it, brother. I tried to give you another
guarantee
answer. Hey, score. I'll catch you on the next one, brother.
All right,
Bye.
Mez. All right, big dog.
Scores.
Yeah,
Watch
bro.
basketball.
So scores. Think about it like this, scores. If you
Nigga,
ask
that's
me,
why
right,
you acting like a female right now because you just
look, he's still here. He keeps saying he got to go, and he keeps sticking around, and then he keep interjecting in the conversation after he say he got to go. Like, this is wild what he's doing, and he keeps saying he keeps citing our ages. He's the only one up here acting childish. It's crazy.
I was gonna say,
It's funny because just like you said, they always be talking about niggas' ages, but they got a worse attention span than my 3-year-old nephew. He know how to listen when I tell him to be quiet.
Shout out to my boy Olo, man. Elite Rage Bait, man. That's my guy.
God. And Carrion, what was you about to say?
I was gonna say, like, this almost seems like he thinks he has the power in this conversation. Like,
yes,
which I don't like. He's like, James Kingdom is saying, "Can you break down the film?" And all I'm hearing is like, "Oh, he's got the interior presence of Charles Oakley and Patrick Ewing." Like, that's cool. Can you expand on that? Like, and then he's like, "No."
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's just like, and it almost kind of aligns with what Go James was saying on here. He doesn't want to talk now because he knows we're recording. And what you say now is going to get etched in stone forever. And we're going to use it as fodder all over the place because it ultimately leads back to just you cooking yourself, right? Because these dudes contradict themselves every single day that they talk basketball. And so right now he's avoiding having a basketball. Remember, he's the one that brought all this up, right? He's the one that brought up all these old conversations. These are all basketball conversations. This is not about anybody. Like, remember, he came on the panel and said that I lied about the Bulls having the best defense of the 90s. I'm not hinging my conversation on that. Feel how you want to feel. But I know that's not true because I'm not using defensive rating. I'm not going to make that the entirety of the conversation. He's making this lying thing. He's trying to make this about a respect thing, right? He's trying to make it feel like his feelings got hurt, as if we're supposed to care. When I'm just saying, okay, get over the words. Get over the words that we use. You're grown. Sometimes things get said on these panels, right? And you're a big boy. You're not a 5-year-old. It's okay, right? Nobody talked about your mama or your daddy. Nobody went out their way to disrespect you. We said you was lying in a basketball conversation. Let's have the basketball conversation. Nothing more than that happened. And for him to pretend that it's bigger than that, for him to pretend it's outside of basketball, again, this is called FYF Sports. It's called your feelings. Who cares about how you feel about how things were said? Nobody cares. Right now, he just sounds like an emotional mess, right? It really something that a woman would come on the panel doing, crying about feelings. Because really,
it's ironic because he called him a girl.
It's very silly, but watch, we'll finish it out because again, he's once again said that I have to go, but he's still here interjecting himself into the conversation, trying not to let other people talk, right? And we'll see. And you know what's so funny about all of this? As crazy as this panel got, it's still not as crazy as one of their lives when a LeBron fan is on and they're all on the one LeBron fan. This is not close to what they do, which is the funniest part about it, right? He should be used to lives sounding like this. That's how all of their lives are. They don't have normal lives. Their lives are about calling one LeBron fan on the panel and then allowing as many people as possible to gang up on that person for hours. That's a fact. Hold on, we got King Money Fly in the back. I'm gonna bring you up. I'm about to get you right up, King Money Fly. Hold on, Herm's been quiet. So
I can drop down.
Hold on. Hold on, Herm was quiet. So if Herm was woke, he'll be back. I know Herm was probably just at work listening or something. Hold on, let me get King Money Fly. And I'm gonna play the rest of this. Because again, I don't shy away from this conversation. Like I told him, I'll go right back to this conversation. We'll play exactly what was said and what wasn't said.
Yes, sir.
Hold on, let me play a little bit more of this while we get King Money Fly comes up.
Here you go with the climb. Hey, bro, come on, fellas. We talking basketball here, fellas. Let's keep it basketball.
Hold on, wait, score. It's not just talking basketball. Score. You don't waste your time doing this. You are a busy man. You got a lot of things to do. You want to talk real hoops with real hoopers. These dudes that you be catching on these TikTok lives ain't real hoopers. They don't watch the game. They're the same people that you make content about. Them same dudes that you always say these people be in my comments, it be people like Mini Glock and no ball talks. I'm just being honest with you, brother. I'm just telling you, man. Maz, I know it's fine. This is not personal. I just don't like people who can't talk basketball and do talk.
Hold on, scores.
We could avoid this whole conversation if there was an actual footage to go look at, but they're gonna lie and tell you what happened.
If I ask
Nobody
you,
knows about that conversation.
Scores. So for example, if I ask you, tell me about what made Dikembe Mutombo a great defender. Are you going to tell me Dikembe Mutombo was a great interior presence?
No.
That is what I said. Remember what I said at the beginning? Vague generalities. Right? Again, because there's a lot that comes with Mutombo. The reason why he has all these DPOYs is more than just him being a great interior presence.
Thank you.
Right? And so what I'm saying is, if you can't just give me a bunch of, I know that Oakley was a big body and a good interior presence. I know that Ewing, but again, as a collective, there was a lot of stuff going on that made them a good defense at times and even a bad or compromised defense at times. And I'm saying, let's talk about that because I'm not using the defensive rating to say that the Bulls had the best defense. He was. So if your only talking point is defensive rating, you should be able, if that's not what you're using, you should be able in 2 seconds be able to tell me what made the Knicks a great defense without just with these weird, vague generalities that for me, you're just trying to shotgun a whole bunch of stuff real quick just to get away from having a real basketball conversation. That's what I'm saying. It's just, and then you know how those lives get. I was the same way all these guys are on here now, the way they just did Mez, that's how they were doing me. So it's surprising that he would complain when they were literally mucking up the conversation. I was up there by myself. And the reason why you couldn't hear anything when they played it is because they were doing the same thing. And I didn't cry about it. I just stood there. I wasn't running around talking about you need to drop people. I'm sitting here trying to talk basketball. And I was on there for like 3 hours doing it. So, and again, Jake was up here. It was Jake's conversation. And these conversations get mucked up when people just jump in the middle. They stay in the comments. They Google a few things, think they have a gotcha, like what you say. They try to go get you some gotchas. Oh, the Knicks had a better defensive rating. You can't get me with that because that's not what I'm using. So once you can't get me with that, now you have to talk real basketball, and you cannot do it with vague generalities. This is the same group of people, Score Society, that they were on a panel telling me that Jordan was doing Iverson cuts in the triangle offense. So this is why I struggle with really respecting basketball acumen, because these are the things that I hear when I'm around them. I tell you, I don't back down from what I say. I just double down on it.
No, I mean, look, I think Bez was just saying, yo, just keep his name out your mouth and shit. That's what I think.
Then he needs to stop talking basketball, because as long as he's talking basketball,
Sean,
gonna call it out.
No, hold on, wait, Sean, you got to stop this. Listen, man, these dudes have been talking about people forever. How you think they are on to FYF Sports and Goat James Kingdom? These dudes, I've told this dude that stop having other people come to us about what you said. That's his problem, because he hangs around people who run around here screaming his name and then claims he's a nobody, but he has a bunch of Zesty Jeffries running around here telling people, yo, go debate Glock, go debate this. Glock cooked you. Glock said this about you. I told him to stop having people coming to me and tell me something about me that you said, and you ain't man enough to do it when I'm here. He eventually had to do it because I started snapping on him, because I was like, bro, this moral imposement that these dudes try to act like we're supposed to have a moral conversation when all they do is be disrespectful across the board. And just because you say, if I take a step back and look, that doesn't mean you're not being disrespectful. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, Lamont just told you he was on a live for 3 hours. We go live for 6-7 hours. It's all available. We don't hide nothing. Why are they hiding the film? Why do they hide on TikTok lives? I called them out for a 20v1, and they said they would only come to a natural place. So here we go. You got this spot right now, Sean. If you really want to see a real GOAT debate, set up those 20 Zesty Jeffries and bring A. Johnny the Exposer and watch how I destroy all of them on your platform without no excuses, no nothing. They are
we can definitely set that up. We can definitely set that up, because this we got to end this some way somehow, bro. Because at the end of the day, I think both of y'all got good debating styles, but my man wasn't trying to debate today though. He wasn't.
No, it wasn't even a debate.
Goat James Kingdom is here. That's why he's not trying to talk when Goat James Kingdom's here. He knows what's about to happen.
I didn't ask that question in the debate because, for example, I always say this. Me and you, we both played. We probably see the game two completely different ways. But it might lead to success. Right. I'm going to accept a real basketball answer. What I will not accept is somebody just hiding behind vague generalities to pretend to sound right. Like, I disagree with Herm. I disagree with Tony. I disagree with a lot of people. But I can respect what they say because I can tell that they've thought about this. This is how they see the game. It's a little bit more than just a whole bunch of vague generalities. So just remember, you just heard it. He gave you a sample size of what I don't like. He said he was trying to tell us what made the Knicks a great defense in '93. He was just shotgunning the names of players and then saying, Ewing, great interior presence. Oakland, a big body. That's not telling me nothing. That is nothing. This is nothing. And that's what annoys me in these conversations, because they'll say that, and then after they say that, they'll say, we got cooked. They'll say, you got cooked. And it's just like, my guy, like, you didn't say nothing. And that's where it bothers me, because I don't mind people saying I got cooked. I understand that people going to see the game differently. But I can sniff out people that pretend. And that's why I said we can have a debate. We can talk real deep. We can have a full defensive debate. You can't hide behind Jordan and LeBron. Let's really have it, right? With rounds, with muted mics. Let's really talk basketball, X's and O's, right? What was the better off? What was the best defensive scheme? Who was the better defensive coach, Larry Brown or Greg Popovich? Let's do something like that. So because you can't hide behind vague generalities in a real debate. And so that's all I'm saying. He can take offense to how I say it. Some people get mad. FYF means we don't care about your feelings. F your feelings. So if I said a word to hurt his feelings, it's cool, because you got to remember, Score Society, these are the same guys that when they lose a basketball debate, they will Google images of A. Johnny. They will Google images of Juan Boy. Right, they will go to people's private Facebook pages and try to put up personal images. Right, they will do everything like outside of basketball. So I
ain't know all that. I ain't know that. This is all basketball.
I told you, Sean. Yes. Listen, Sean. They have been identified, marked, and cataloged, and all brought to the Zesty Jeffrey Cemetery in Goat James Kingdom. I know all these dudes, man. Don't trust me. They know my name. They know what we do here. That's why he got scared as soon as he saw me pop up. And he cried about Olo, because Olo be enjoying the Zesty Jeffrey's exposures. It's not not our fault that y'all can't talk basketball. I was telling this, Sean, they got two options. You talk basketball or get exposed. They keep choosing the latter.
Well, let's see. Somebody will come up here. I think they got a better argument than Mez. They said, let me see.
And so to end it, y'all, this is where I say we get the 2-for-1 special. Because now we end it. Y'all thought Mez was a low-level basketball mind. Well, we bring the lowest of the lowest basketball minds up. I mean, this dude is just groveling. He's a bottom feeder. He's a bottom feeder. He's a shellfish, just bottom feeding in the basketball community, man.
FYI, I'm gonna get
so we gonna call him plankton.
We'll call him a carp. He's a carp.
Lamont.
What up, man?
I just wanted to say I've known Mez for 4 years since 2022. He's always been like this. Like I don't know what it is. Like I just think it's like obsession of a player. Like I don't know what it is. Like I really don't. And like, yeah, go ahead.
I'm saying, to be fair, I really don't have any particular feelings about how he talks the game. Do I think how he talks the game is very intellectual or productive? No, but I'm not moved by that. This is where I get moved, and this happened in another conversation with another guy on YouTube by the name of Dookie. He will enter a conversation as if what he's saying is the absolute authority of all basketball talk. So he'll enter the conversation that me and Jake were having, and he'll say, FYF lied. The Bulls weren't the best defensive team of the 90s. Well, hold on. Who are you? And why are you now injecting yourself into this conversation that me and Jake are having? And we now have to go with whatever information that you're using to say that the Bulls didn't have the best defense. Well, that's the supreme information that we have to go by. And what Mez says, when Mez says it, is, I don't use defensive rating. That's not the supreme authority of all great defense. He does. And so that the thing is once you put yourself as this authority figure and you try to bully into the conversation, well, now it's my job. Okay, well, now since you want to be the bully, we're going to really see how much you really know. So now I'm going to pick at you until you really start talking real basketball on the highest of highest levels. And whenever you run around talking basketball in vague generalities, right, I'm always going to call it out. He's done this in multiple conversations. He does it a lot. And because he keeps injecting himself as this supreme basketball mind, every time he talks around me, just like at the beginning of this, if you missed it, you can watch the replay on YouTube. It's the same. That's why I treated him the way I did in the Kevin Johnson conversation, because he was trying to talk to Core Score Society in vague generalities about Kevin Johnson, but failed to give us what was really going on, right? And he gets mad because I hit him with that layer of information that exposes how vague he's being, and he really don't have a way to wiggle up out of it other than clipping things, taking clips out of context, making a muck out of conversations, trying to tell people what I said versus allowing either me to tell you what I said or allowing the clip to explain itself. And
Lamont, but you know, it's funny, but right before I came into your live, me and him were actually in a live together. Like right before I came into your live. And we were talking about Luka Doncic's, like, I forget what sparked the conversation, but we were talking about Luka Doncic. And he said something that caught my eye, and then that sparked the conversation. He said, Luka hasn't been able to win an MVP or a championship because of his defense, right? And I told him to expand. I said, what series did he cost his team in the playoffs defensively? What series specifically was Luka's defense the reason they lost? And he said, all of them. And this is recorded too. Press was in there too. He said
that
all
is
of
so
them.
vague.
So I went in my argument. I was like, I've seen Luka be on top 5 defenses, a la the 2022 Mavs. I've seen him be on a top 7 defense on the Mavericks team in 2024 that was top 2. Matter of fact, the Boston Celtics series he pointed to as the reason they lost, absolutely fucking not. It was the complete opposite. The Dallas Mavericks made the Celtics play their worst 5-game stretch they had all season, and that is one of the greatest offenses of this decade by far. Yeah. And so I was trying to get him to be more specific because we were talking about him compared to Jokic. I was like, well, all the metrics say because he was talking about Luka's effort. I was like, all the metrics say when Luka puts in the effort, he's an average defender.
Yep.
He's a neutral. Whereas Jokic, even when he does put in 100% effort, he is much more of a liability because he is your backside help. He's your rim protector. And on top of that, he drops off consistently as an on-ball creator. He makes up for it sometimes because he's such a great off-ball player, which is why I conceded that like maybe Jokic has a better play style conducive to winning, right?
Mm-hmm.
But Luka clears him as an on-ball scorer, right? And he had playoff series where he's on par as Jokic with added playmaking. I was like, how are you going to point to Jokic? Because he was saying, oh, you the defense. I was saying, bro, the 2023 Nuggets were, I mean, it's an outlier, but the 2023 Nuggets were like the one team that was like top 15 in defense, and they were still able to win a championship because of Jokic was able to overcome. He made up for his lack in defense.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing goes for Luka.
Yep.
So and that's why I was like, that's why I found this conversation funny because Mez does a lot of things, and that's why I don't like accolades culture. I don't like MVP because it's such a broad way of looking at it, and on top of that, it's a subjective award that's voted on by media members who your opinion you don't even respect. Stephen A. Smith is one of them. Yep. Kendrick Perkins. You don't respect these guys' opinions, right? And I'm not saying all of them, but I'm saying a lot of them are very subjective in its a subjective thing. So that's why I don't like using like media via voted awards as the start of the conversation, right? Because it just gives you something. It's just broad. You know what I mean? Okay, let's go into detail on why these players were able.
And like I said before, similar to analytics, I think the accolades help give us
an idea,
the right group of players. But from that point forward, now we have to kind of use other things to kind of sort it out from there. It's like you're right. The accolades just can't be the end all be all. We're going to have to now incorporate stats or eye tests, obviously, whatever you want to use. But like I say, those things get you to a place where we now have a big bundle of players to work with. So we don't have to sort through every player in NBA history that ever played. But once we get this group, we now start to evaluate those guys. And that's where I say it helps us right there. And I'm glad you had that experience because my thing is, and again, I don't mind. And here's the thing. I don't want to try to put myself above people, right? Because there are a lot of people that just love to come on these basketball panels, talk the game. And there's a lot of people who will admit that they're just casuals and they will use kind of generalities. And I'm cool with that. I have no issue. I respect everybody at any level of basketball talk. But don't be that guy to just jump into conversations. And like, for example, if you having a conversation and I just pull up out of the blue, you lied, Carrion. It's just like, well, once you invoke that invokes you to really turn up to the max and really put whatever I say to the fire, right? Mm-hmm. And I can't just be vague. Even with Glor, he was right when he was talking with Maz. Well, if you're gonna invoke this and say this absolute claim about Luka, well, now you got to be put to the fire. Now you got to give some justification to it because that's a very damning claim on a great player. And for you to say all of them is, again, a very vague way to weasel your way out of talking basketball. The reason why he says this is because generally it's just said that Luka's a bad defender. That's the only reason why he's using it. It's much harder to identify how his defense is impacting winning and losing, right? You don't get to the finals if his defense is that bad, right? He got Kyrie Irving and Luka might be one of the worst defensive backcourts in NBA history. They got to the finals, right? Yeah. So it has to be a little bit deeper than just Luka's defense.
Luka's I think one of most of Luka's issues he's just not good laterally.
I mean, but again,
he can't stay in front of nobody. I mean,
but it's basketball's deeper than that.
It's an athletic thing too.
It's about like think about it like his coaches have schemes. Like Steph Curry's not a great defender. Warriors somehow found a way to figure it out, right? I mean, Jokic's not a great defender. They figured it out. I mean, we go to a lot of teams in NBA.
I mean, Lamont, we're seeing. Oh, go ahead.
Magic Johnson's not a great defender.
Now with the Knicks, we're watching it right now.
No, Wamba. I was about to bring that up.
Yes.
So like, I'm a Knicks fan. Like, we can break down like they're using Brunson on these heavy like hedges, and they're allowing McHale and like him hedging allows like the opposing player to misdirect, and it allows OG or McHale to like switch on that player, right? Like Yeah, I agree.
But you see how we you see how
you sound like you watch basketball, fam.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We can like in carrying. Like if you came up here with a take and you
that's a fact though.
If you came up here with a take and you justified it by your eye test, like they be wanting me to debate everybody. I can't I don't expect everybody to have the same eye test, right? Right. But if you make these damning allegations, I expect you to have some hellified information to give us, especially if we're talking about great players. And you're putting this standard supremely high with Luka, just like he put this standard. He set the standard for the Knicks really high. You got to now be better than the '90s Bulls. Explain it.
Yeah.
The discussion can't even start before you can articulate your reasoning. Like you can't even start. That's what's frustrating about it, because we can't really talk basketball in depth until you talk about your reasoning, and then we can because and this is where I get eye test. I like prefer eye test a lot of times is because it tells me you're at least engaged in the content you're talking about. You feel me?
And Glory, in the context of the conversation that we were having, if you think back, he came on and told Jake that I lied about the Bulls having the best defense. If it's not about defensive rating, that means he's just using his subjective opinion, which isn't an exact science either. At the end of the day, I was just telling Jake what I believed.
Yeah.
When I was talking to Jake, I didn't say, Jake, you're a liar for not believing this, or you're wrong for not believing this. I was just telling him, this is what I believe and why I believe it. And this is how he kept trying to lie in the conversation, saying that he wasn't using defensive rating. I said, it's the only objective thing that you can use to even make the claim that I lied, because anything outside of defensive rating is just your opinion, right? And unless your name is Coach K or Phil Jackson or Greg Popovich, I don't think your opinion means that much in any conversation. So, especially as you have with me. But look, the only reason why I want to play this next part, it's definitely less about basketball, because obviously it's Armani Viz, right? Very, you're only going to get so far in basketball with him, but it does expose another element in these basketball conversations where people kind of try to put themselves around people that talk basketball. But as Johnny kind of explained a little bit later in this clip, you have people that are just leeches, right? And
now, before you play it, can I say this now?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm pretty much sure he was there for the whole conversation. I wasn't there. I wasn't there. I didn't hear it. I bet you, if he didn't hear what was going on, like the interpretation of the Knicks defense without using the defensive rating, I bet you not even going to ask what the topic is.
What you mean? No, he is. Watch this. But again, we've already broken down his spiel. What Armani Viz will do, and I'm sure Glore and a lot of you guys that have shows, Viz will pop up on your panel. He'll do the same thing. His number one thing is he'll join the panel, and instead of addressing the topic, which should be very clear, because why do you join a panel if you don't know the topic? He has this weird thing about joining panels and then asking you questions about your topic as opposed to just giving his take about the topic. So he'll just ask a question, and he'll just ask these very odd questions about your opinion on the topic, which you probably spent already, by the time he joins, an hour already explaining. So it's annoying in it kind of, but again, it's just another way to pretend that he's really invested in the conversation. When you typically, if I pull up to Karen, if you're live, Glore, if you're live, do you think I'm going to join your panel and say, hey, Glore, what's your thoughts on the topic that you got going today? I usually
I'm live. I'm live to ask you.
I'm usually, well, it's not even that. I usually hear something that sparks my interest, and I'm going to give a take, or here's my opinion, or I agree with something. You don't like, and so, but that's why I want y'all to hear this next part, and because it also takes us to the silliness, the silly side of TikTok, where people now become silly characters.
I was
very
just
silly. Go ahead, Kerry.
Like I was just gonna say, like, this whole thing like sounds like straw man arguments from Mez. Like, I feel like he just like wants to dumb down the argument and not like give actual insight.
Yeah, before we move on to this next guy, one last thing I want to say about Mez. I've been on this app for almost like 2 years. I want to say 2.5 years, right? The only time I've seen Mez is talking about Jordan and the Bulls versus like LeBron guys. You know what I mean? That is his main. Are him and Mark? Him and his boy Mark, right? All they talk is Jordan and the Bulls, right? And so I'm one of those people. I learned to shut up about things I didn't watch. I don't rank players I didn't watch. You know what I mean? I don't like. I leave that to the like hoop. I got Hoop Historian in my shit as a joke. You know what I mean? I talk about the stuff that I watch. You know what I mean? Because I can speak on it. And I think I expect everybody, especially as men, to have that decency just as a smart human being. But the fact that this is all he talks about,
he must have been listening to me.
this is all he talks about, and you can get into in-depth conversation about Chicago, not the '90s as a whole.
No, Glory. Here's the trick bag that he's in.
Talking. Let me get a follow.
Glory. There's the trick bag that he's in. He now has to tell us why another team was doing something better than Jordan's team. He doesn't like the reason why he's avoiding talking about it is because now he's put in the biggest trick bag of them all. You now have to tell us why Jordan, right, his team weren't the best at something. Good luck trying to do that. Like you already don't know nothing about basketball. And now you have to try to tell us why the only person that you defend, you have to, you spend every day, all day telling us why Jordan is better than everybody at everything. And now you've put yourself in a situation where you have to tell people why the Knicks in 93 had a better defense than the Bulls in 93 or any particular year. Good luck. Trick bag.
Like, I was also going to say, like, piggyback on what Gore was saying, like the Bulls out of like every like team in the 90s is the most documented, and you can't even like break down what they're doing defensively. They have the most games like streamed like probably ever throughout the 90s. And you can't break down a single defensive concept.
But it wasn't even about breaking. He put himself in a trick bag because he put himself in a situation where he couldn't talk about the Bulls. He very well may know a little bit about the Bulls. I don't think he does. But he put himself in the crazier trick bag because, remember, he wasn't arguing the topic. And he was trying to argue me, which what I mean by that is I was having this conversation with Jake. His intention was just to join the panel and to say that I was wrong about something. And the only thing that he can say was wrong was, remember, he joined the panel and said, FYF said the Bulls had the best defense every single year that they won a championship. He said, that's wrong. Because he was basically saying that the Bulls didn't have the best defensive rating. Right? And now he's put himself in the trick bag because the trick bag is that I don't use defensive rating. See, most people just use defensive rating. They'll say, this player had this defensive rating or this team had this defensive rating and this is why they're number one. I don't use that. And that's the trick bag he got thrown in. And so now you have to now tell me, and then I laughed at him on that same stream. I laughed at him. I said, you're using defensive rating in a conversation like this? So I laughed. And so I started to make a mockery of him even using it. And so now he has to either one, tell me why defensive rating is the strongest metric to use for evaluating defensive teams, which we know you can't do. Or two, you have to tell us why any particular team like the 93 Knicks are a better defensive team without using defensive rating. Because he said that I was lying, right? And like I say, I tried to ask him the question. I tried to get him to explain it. He chose not to explain it because I guess his feelings were hurt when this is a topic that he brought up, not me. I don't really care about this conversation. I don't think, like some people may think otherwise. I know some people think highly of Miz. I just don't. I don't think very highly of somebody like that. One, you try to denigrate people that don't know as much basketball as you. You don't respect people's opinions. And you think that what you say is the absolute authority. And don't know why he's gotten like that. I don't know where the egos come from. But like I say, man, only so much of it can fly when you're talking to me. Because as like Glore did, he was right to question. And when you ask questions, what you're going to start finding, Glore, and you're going to have more conversations with him, you're going to find that when you ask questions, you're going to get very fishy answers. And you're going to start to say, just like you did today, that answer's kind of vague. You know, are you
kind of weird?
Yeah, and you know, and maybe like I say, I could be wrong in my assessment. I'll let you guys have more conversations with him, and you guys can come back with your own conclusions. But I've really concluded that sometimes like people use these TikTok spaces because they feel like talking basketball makes them feel cool. They can relive their high school days, right? They have a group of fans that think that they're the top dog. It is what it is, and I get it, man.
Hey man, all I want to say is one thing common denominator I find with all these Jordan fans is they're phenomenal pivoters and they got phenomenal footwork. They got phenomenal
they move the
footwork.
They should
They got Hakeem. They got
should be able to play football.
Hey, Glor, they paid that $75K. They got that footwork from Hakeem.
Now him and I listen. I'm cool with Jake, but Jake also the same. He does that a lot too. Jordan, he does that a lot too. But I'll fuck with Jake. But they're amazing, and it's almost impressive. You feel me? I almost respect it. You feel me? Because it's art at this point. Like the way they pivot the conversation and don't get into specifics and. Like, because then that's how I dissect. Because if I really have a solid argument, I want you to dissect it more.
Yeah.
I want you to find a hole with my argument, because that's how I know I have a strong argument. If I don't, and I find something, this is something I will give myself props for. If you find a hole in my argument, I will reconsider my criteria.
Yeah.
Because see, my thing is, I like to at least when I talk to the Jordan LeBron debate, because I'm a LeBron guy, right? But my thing is, I don't care who you have as the GOAT. What is your criteria? Yeah. And let me prove my criteria is better at analyzing why LeBron's a GOAT. Let's argue criteria, because then we can't get into the other stuff. Then we got to get into, okay, why do you value MVPs? He got more. Okay, why do you value that? Okay, you got more champions. Okay, why that? Like, you know what I mean? Rather than just talking about broad accomplishments and fucking defensive rating and all this other bullshit. Let's talk about actual basketball reason, impact.
Gore, it's like an ABC method. First, they go to accolades. Second, they go to LeBron's failures. And B, they just go like, no. It's literally an ABC method. I've been like spewing this stuff the longest time.
Karen, I've gotten screenshots. They have a Discord where they have an entire script. The reason why they all sound very similar, they have a Discord where they have a script. The reason why Superstar's line of questioning sounds just like J-Bo's is because these guys, and somebody outed them, start sending screenshots of their Discord. They have a Discord where they huddle up in the Discord, put together notes, and scripts to talk to LeBron James fans so that they can all sound in unison and sound like one, right?
Yeah.
And they all have the same information, but they all get stumped with the same line of questioning. They all get stumped with the same rebuttals. Like, they all get stumped with the same things. And then they have to, you wonder why when in the middle of talking to them, they go to coffee breaks. Like Mez does it a lot. And he'll come back with information. He'll be like, oh, guys, I was on the phone. But then he'll run off something that sounds like a script. He did it in his last conversation with Johnny. And I started to put two and two together. I'm like, you guys got some type of script that you're using, because you're just shotgunning a very bunch of weird talking points that don't really connect back to anything. And it's just like, what are you doing here? But
they don't connect to anything outside of their emotions. That's it.
It's very odd. I get it.
Talk to everybody, man.
Salute. Oh, man, King Money, I forgot you was up here. My bad, man. What's good?
What's up, man? Now, you good, brother. I'm just listening. That's why you can't talk to everybody on the app. That's why I don't be trying to talk to all of them. I've been figuring them out. I've been on this app for a minute.
Yeah,
I know this man right next to me, Corinne. I was on the app when he was on. He used to stitch my videos on my other page. And listen,
I remember him.
I used to tell people all the time, man, them analytics and stuff, I don't just go off of that. I used to tell Corinne the same thing. Like, it's more than just the numbers. This is why I made the prompt stacks and accolades. Tell me who better. Because we know some of the stats weren't recorded. We know some of the accolades wasn't given to everybody. So that's why I don't just hang my hat on those stuff. Or even a per game measurements. That's why I made a graph. How do you rate defense? Is it defensive rating or is it defensive teams? All this stuff. Because it's like people don't have all the same stuff. And it's like somebody can be better. So it's like, you know.
Speaking of that, Game Money, like, here's the thing, right? Like,
what's good, brother?
This is my story. So I met Kim Money Fly back in 2021, where I was like an 18-year-old, and I was mostly a stats guy, mostly a team like oriented. Like I would look at a lot of stats, but like one of my friends, Lee, he gave me a good perspective on why I shouldn't be using team stats to generate impact, why like accolades are a very flawed argument on like who's like a better basketball player. And I'm not going to say that like I'm perfect when it comes to like basketball debates, but I like realized that like the only like healthy like debates is like to show like more from like accolades and team oriented stats. So, and I've also like realized that like basketball has evolved even from like 5 years ago. Like there's more new like offensive, like, how do I put the word? Offensive schemes oriented. So I'm still learning every day, but I definitely think like over the course of the years, I've tried to get better like every single day to understand basketball even more.
Hey, Karen, I'm going to have a show probably next week with a guy that I think you would want to talk to, right? Especially, his name is Scott Mossman. Now, a lot of people don't know Scott Mossman. Scott Mossman is probably one of the top coaches in the West Coast, but this guy is a billionaire.
Holy shit.
But you won't know it when you see it. You won't know it when they talk to him. The reason why he's a billionaire is because he's the man that created synergy. A lot of the analytics that we use today, he created. And so when I have these conversations with him about analytics and where they've gone and what they were originally intended for, and I mean, he just feels that, yes, he made a ton of money off of it, but he feels like, the man that created it talks about how it's done a huge disservice because it's really taken away from, he always tells me the most dangerous scout is a scout that knows how to watch film and use the analytics combined. That's the most lethal scout. And I think analytics are extremely valuable, especially if you have a strong eye test and you know how to start connecting the dots. That's what separates these. That's why there's levels to scouts. You got some scouts that know how to go find a Dalton Connect, like the Tennessee scout, right? They know how to go find guys, right? And like when they found Dame or CJ McCollum or at Lehigh. And then you have some scouts that, you bringing in guys and this guy's a 5-star, but he ended up sticking around for 4 years and then pans out to be absolutely nothing. You didn't scout him out well. So again, I'm going to have him on. His name is Scott Mossman. And I think when he starts breaking this stuff down, I mean, for anybody that really is like into the analytics, like, cause I don't think it's a completely bad thing to use. He can give you another perspective on it that'll just help you kind of point you in the right direction. Cause it's like King Money Flyers, from his perspective, he's just seen so much abuse of analytics. It's hard for him to really and I feel him. It's hard to accept a lot of what, I was having conversations with Vision and Mez. These fools are using SRS and game score off of Basketball Reference. And I'm like, when is this going to stop, man? Like, game score?
Lamar, the key, real quick, Kerry, I just want to say, the key, and then this is another thing some King Go James would say, the Zesty Jeffries would say, they say, context they'll say is excuses, and I hate that. And the same thing goes for analytics. Everything, when we talk about basketball or honestly, anything, it could go politics, it can go in life. If you don't talk about it within the context, everything can be skewed. You can skew any type of argument your way if you avoid context. You know what I mean? So it has to be a balance of watching the games, understanding the schemes these teams are playing, understanding the circumstances the teams are playing against, right? Are playing in. So all these things when we talk about players, and I understand that basketball is a unique sport because I feel like it doesn't have as much variables as, let's say, football, right? So it's a more like, singular sport. You have more impact on the court because there's 1 of 5, 10, right? So, but we got to contextualize these things, and Jordan fans hate contextualizing. They hate it.
Well, they love context when it comes to Jeffrey, but when it comes to anybody other than Jeffrey, you can't have context. It's an excuse.
No. So I do that with Russell all the time. I go, I don't need no context. 11's more than 6. You're a loser. Context is for losers. You're going to try to explain to me how 6 is worth more than 11. I don't need
but Tony, the context, he didn't score 30 points a game.
No, I don't need. That's what I just keep going with. I don't need context. 11's more than 6. Context is for losers.
The 30-point a game be blown out of proportion too, man.
After
That shit crazy.
After that conversation I had with one of my friends, like the thing is that every time I see like these analytics used in basketball, it kind of like ruins it for me. Because like even though like I do think some analytics is good information, I also think it like makes people more lazy to not watch the game. Like I don't know what it is. Like
well,
that's true.
Well, I just think that they were never meant for public consumption. They were meant for scouts and GMs, they were most analytics, and I'm not going to say all, but most analytics were meant for comparisons of same player, same position, probably within a specific time or like a specific season, right? It's meant to understand a player's value to your specific team and maybe your specific system. So, for example, if you have a coach and you're running some type of run and gun style system, is this player, based on the analytics, is he going to be more conducive to our playing style, or should we look to another guy, right? Is this guy who is more prone to shoot threes, is he going to be more conducive to play with Steve Nash versus this guy who's more likely to drive? And we got
that's how you use defensive rating too, Lamar, is if you got 2 players on your team and you try to decide who's going to fit better in your defensive lineup, you could be like, okay, this player has a better defensive rating when he's playing with these guys versus this guy. Because you're using the same sample size of this is going to be the same 4 players.
But that's
just replacing one guy.
And that's what I mean. It's just like they were never intended to be placed in all of these debates that we're having, right? Once they became available to public consumption, right? Now you have like the guy Mars on Player's Choice. This man will literally spend hours trying to find new analytics that no one's ever seen. And in the middle of basketball conversations or basketball debates, he'll spring one of these new analytics up on, out of nowhere on everybody. And again, he uses it because it makes his information sound better than yours, right? He has this new flashy word term that he's found somewhere on some obscure website that he can say makes his take more superior to yours. Especially when I hear these terms, first thing I say is, what is that? Where'd you get it from? And why is it even valuable in this conversation? And are you even using it correctly? And so that's where like a lot of people don't know how to use these. Like defensive rating is never supposed to be used as an isolated individual metric. That's just not how it was even designed. But
especially individual defensive rating, it's bad, man.
Hey, Kieran, do you remember the LeBron stat or the VORP?
Oh my God! Don't even get me started. No, this is what I'm saying. I just feel like the reason I don't use analytics because I used them for so long, and then when I actually watch back to old games, I realized that analytics ruined the game of basketball for me. And all the arguments I had back then are way different than I have them now. So.
We're talking.
That's my take on it. Defensive win shares, yeah, those are bad.
Play Bubble Boy.
Oh yeah, but remember again, y'all, don't abandon them. They still have a use. But if you learn how to combine it with, for example, if you start understanding how an analytic was created and what its intended use was for, then when you watch the game, start purposefully looking for that and try to see if you can match it up with your eyes. It's just going to make you better with watching film. But again, a lot of people don't have a reason to watch film like that. Like for me, I have a reason to. I have to sift through videos. I get highlight videos from kids that make these kids look like Michael Jordan, right? I have to find what I'm telling you. I got tricked. I've gotten tricked. I have to really figure this out. I have to, and if I do get analytics, if I do get stats, I got kids sending me stats, 17 points per game, X, Y, and Z. And then when I play the film and I see you dribble 4 or 5 times, and I'm like, I mean, I get that you averaged this, but some ain't. It's not pretty. It ain't working. It ain't but I see this all. But then I just got the film from a kid out of Guam. Well, I think I might have found the next hidden gem. This dude is cold, but nobody knows about him. And it's that I just watch him dribble the way I watch him move, his tendencies. I don't care what stat you give me. You can't tell me that this kid is not going to be a D1 basketball player. And so like I just think that it just takes a combination of a lot of different things. I wouldn't say abandon it. It has a use, but
it should give you an idea, not the full picture, though.
I'm gonna hear what this next guy got to say because you said this guy is even dumber than
y'all know. Well, so Armani Viz. Just to give you the little backstory. This is the guy that on YouTube I had to file a copyright strike against because while my live stream was playing, he was playing my live while it was playing on his channel as it was.
He was live streaming Lamont's.
He was live streaming my live for 2 hours. And again, if you're not a YouTube content creator, you kind of won't understand. But that's like the absolute. That's like the most criminal.
No, that's basically plagiarism, Lamont.
Yeah,
like everybody that went to school, everybody that wrote papers and shit.
It's universally understood. It's universally understood that in these spaces, we can react to content. We get that, and that's 99% of the time. No content creator has any gripe with that. But if I'm live, don't mess with my live until my live is over with. Don't try to repurpose my content until that live is over. That's just an unspoken rule, just like an NBA got unspoken rules. And so I ended up putting up a copyright strike against him, and ultimately those strikes led to his channel getting removed, which again, that's YouTube's decision. That's
deservingly so.
Yeah, but again, that's neither here nor there. But from that point forward, he's been on this weird mission to make up all types of lies, and you'll even hear some of them in here. Like this dude, and I really have, truly and honestly, I really just stopped even giving him the time of day because, one, he just seeks attention, and two, people close to him have just basically said that there's other issues at play mentally, and it's just not a fight that I'm not gonna fight the special ed, So
Lamont's not a short bus warrior, nigga.
Yeah, not a short bus warrior, man. So again,
damn, his family told you that? That's crazy.
And look, this is a short bus warrior. I mean, that's what short bus warriors do, man.
Oh man,
you know what it is, man. This dude has been obsessed. This dude has been obsessed with a Johnny Lamont. It's been over a year now at this point. It's ridiculous.
Lamont, they must be a fan.
What's that knockoff? What's that knockoff Sub-Zero I see right now?
But he said that. But one of his claims, y'all, is, and I don't know where this came from. Like he goes from one claim to the next about either me or Johnny, just hoping one of these claims stick and people believe him. But one of his more recent claims was he said that I sent a wellness check to his house.
What?
Yes. I said a wellness check, my guy. But you'll hear a little bit of it. Let me play it right here. Because, he's going to get straight to it. Again, remember, my only objective is to talk basketball. But we are going to wiggle him into the realm of possibly talking basketball. And he does have a very similar reaction to Miz. Watch this.
Oh, no.
I love the debate. Hey, Score Society. This dude is lying to you. This man right here doxes people and strike people. Bro, all you gotta do is go to my channel, boss, and you see everything. This nigga's a whole liar, Lamar. Why you up here lying again, boss?
Oh my god.
Why you lying, boss?
Oh my god.
Hey, Score Society, this is another character. His name is Bubble Boy Viz.
Yeah, I'm the one that
Hey, Sean. Hey, Sean, let me tell you about this dude. Sean, let me tell you about this dude. This is a dude that counts 11 years in the 2000 decade to get Kobe over people. He says that he can count 11 years in the 2000 to get Kobe. He can't even count to 10. That's who this dude is. This dude can't count to 10.
Tony, where do you get this from, Tony? I went live multiple times. You never popped up. So where you get this from?
Did you send me the request?
Did you hear me? Did you hear me?
Did you send me the request?
My man.
I didn't follow you.
My man.
Yeah. In your comments, I'm going to ask you.
Tony, what you just said on my name.
Armani, you got videos about me, right? I ain't got no videos about you. I don't care about you.
Hold on, guys.
Check this out.
One second. Too many people talking.
Who did I dox? Who did I dox?
Hold on. I got you, Lamont. Bubble Boy is not credible in Scoring Society because even YouTube said his content was not valid. His whole channel off YouTube. He's not allowed to be on YouTube because his content is fully false. It's fabrication. He's like one of the worst content creators ever.
Hey, Sean, we from the same city, Sean. You know I stand up, bro. We from the same city, bro.
So Sean, and what he does is this, Sean, and this is what he does. This is what he does. When you ask him about his taste, what he tells you is, you just got to go watch my video. So what he tries to do is, he tries to feed off. He's like a leech. He likes to feed off of the drama that the Zesty Jeffries create, and then he tries to tell people, yo, I talked about Lamar, I talked about A. Johnny. Go check my page out. And all it does is get his channel banned and restricted because his content.
Let me hear what he got.
But you can hear what you got. I'm just letting you know. Just pay attention.
Now, y'all heard what A. Johnny just said about Armani Viz. Watch what happens. Watch this.
This is my first time meeting him. This is my first time meeting him. So
Don't let him hide behind the smoke.
That's why he's trying to overtalk me, bro. Like, he's trying to overtalk. I'm not going to yell.
Go ahead.
You can go do your own research. Just go to my channel. Take a breeze to my channel, bro.
Don't do it, Score Society.
The reason why they don't want you to do that because they can't refute nothing like everybody else because I don't really get basketball takes. What I do is debunk what they say. This is why you overtalking me. This is why you overtalking me. I'm letting you talk, Johnny.
Just talk
I'm confident in what I got to say, bros. It's a reason why y'all don't want me to talk. Ain't
Let's cook basketball now.
What are you talking about? Nobody's going to your channel.
We can talk basketball whenever you want. Lamar, unblock me. I don't have no problem coming up on your channel. Lamar, unblock me.
No. We're here now.
No. Unblock me on your channel, boss.
Why can't we
It's the
never
reason why
talk
y'all got me
basketball?
blocked, brother? Lamar, why would I talk basketball to a guy that doxed me, bro?
basketball right now, bro. Like, let's talk basketball right now. Let's talk basketball. Let's pick a topic.
We all here.
Listen, Sean, like I said, bro.
Lamar,
What I do is debunk these stuff. I don't give out wild takes, bro, because I'm a
basketball. Can we move on to basketball?
Brother, can you shut the fuck up so I can talk, bro?
Damn, fuck you. Get off this. Yo, man.
I'm trying to talk, bro. I'm sat here back, be quiet with y'all. Let me talk, bro.
No, we don't want to hear your bus driving ass.
I make more.
Now let's
money.
get the